deal over the Gaza issue can also be hammered out.
The news comes despite complaints about the fragile truce between Israel and Hezbollah fighters in Lebanon. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up. Actually, up above 45,000 for the first time. Let's see, just under 45,000, actually, down 0.2%. The S&P 500 down 0.1%, and the NASDAQ off less than 0.1%. Coming up, we've got a lot of traffic issues out there due to the fog, plus that closure of American Fork Canyon. KSL Traffic is next. KSL News Time, 9:02.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
At Gillette Services, you're more than just a customer. You're family. We pride ourselves on delivering exceptional HVAC and plumbing services with a personal touch. Whether it's a routine checkup or an emergency, we're here for you. Get a $49 tune-up for the first 50 callers. Call 385-GET-HEAT today. That's 385-438-4328 today.
A Carrier Factory authorized dealer.
Kick off the holidays with a visit to Western Nut Company, where giving and receiving something delicious is always in season. Western Nut roasts only the finest nuts, creating treats that are simply unforgettable. Step into our downtown store and you'll feel like you entered a holiday movie set. Magical decor, sparkling ornaments, whimsical snow globes, and treasures for your home and tree awaits. And let's not forget the nuts. From brittles and caramels to dried fruits, jams, and nut boxes, everything is beautifully packaged and perfect for sharing. Like many Utah families always have, make it your tradition to stop by, explore what's new, and find something special for everyone on your list. Whether you're gifting clients, neighbors, or family, Western Nut has you covered with thoughtful and locally crafted treats, all wrapped up in love. Call, click, or come by. Western Nut Company, nuts for our customers and the holidays.
The Movie Show is at Minky Couture in Layton this Friday, December 6th from 11 to 1. Join KSL News Radio and Minky Couture and get special discounts and savings on your favorite Minky Couture products. Looking for the best gift ever? That's what you get at Minky Couture, the original luxury blanket company. New this year at Minky are family Christmas pajamas, luxury robes, and snuggly sleeping bags. Save 50% this Friday only. For the Movie Show in Layton, use code MOVIE50 at minkycouture.com or any of the 6 Minky locations.
If you're trying to decide which gutter protection to put on your home, don't just ask how they'll handle leaves. Ask how they'll handle ice. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and that's right, ice. See, plenty of gutter guards are good at keeping out leaves, but most are made with flimsy materials that can bend, buckle, and break under the weight of too much ice. Kind of a big problem in an icy state like Utah, right? At RGS Exteriors, our exclusive gutter protection systems are built Utah tough. They're made with premium strength materials that hold up to 1,200 pounds of ice per square foot. Simply put, they're not going to budge. Our gutter guards are also certified to handle hurricane-level winds and rain. Mother Nature can't damage them. Guaranteed. Utah Tough Products. That's the RGS way. For a free estimate, call 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's rgsexteriors.com or 801-280-3110.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. Here's Heather Kelly.
We've got big problems if you're on the West Davis corridor heading southbound. 2 miles of nearly stopped traffic. It's because people are not able to transition onto southbound I-15. And actually, it looks like they've just reopened that ramp. So now drivers can transition from southbound West Davis Highway onto southbound I-15, but they had to close it for a couple of hours to clean up fuel spill. So that is what's holding you up for a couple of hours. And then you have delays on Legacy Parkway because of fog, reduced visibility. We've got delays southbound 15 from Pleasant Grove into Linden due to a crash that's now been moved over to the right shoulder. The Festival of Trees now through December 7th at the Mountain America Expo Center, a magical holiday tradition celebrating children's health in our Utah community. Tickets on sale now at festivalofTreesUtah.org. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Air quality will be in the moderate range again today. Haze will last throughout the day. Highs in the mid-40s. Right now it's 28 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Still no killer in custody in New York, but the hunt is on. They now believe he may have stayed at a hostel with other people, according to CNN, and so cops have been searching that hostel this morning. And there is a menu of new clues that have popped up in this investigation in the murder of a CEO of United Healthcare.
And the pictures and videos that are coming out, Debbie, this is the most suspicious human being on earth. I mean, it's incredible. A mask covering almost the entirety of his face, a jacket, hood pulled up and over, extremely suspicious. But we are learning more and more details that are quite disturbing. It's 9:07. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things that Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
Look, if you've owned a timeshare, you're thinking of buying a timeshare, be here at 10:05 because Dave has a 1-hour presentation that we're going to break down at 10:05 the need-to-know items on a checklist before you sign up for a timeshare, okay? I think we've probably all at some point either been enticed to attend one of those presentations or maybe we have shown up in person for one of those presentations. Well, Bankrate. There's an analyst who knows all about this. There's an expert out there who's going to join us with financial advice as we look into timeshares, if they're worth the investment. And you know what? People post on social media a lot. This one's YouTube's timeshare traveler. Some people just love these things, Dave.
A Motel 6 here in Honolulu is more expensive than my maintenance fees to stay, and I'm much happier in the places I'm staying.
One thing I've learned about myself, Debbie, over the years, I will do anything for a free meal. You offer me a 2-night stay in Las Vegas, I'm in. I will sit through your presentation. But it was astounding to me when I was making nothing. They were hard selling me at one of these timeshare things. I'm making $24,000 a year. I'm a newlywed. I've been employed for 5 minutes in a real career. And they're like, oh, yeah, you can make this work. You can totally make this work. It was fascinating. I couldn't believe that they were still trying to sell me on this. So finding out what happens when it does work and when it doesn't is a great conversation.
Countdown. 2.
Well, we never shy away from going big on discussions about colleges, universities, costs, higher ed. And we're going to continue our conversation about the potential of reallocations in higher education. That's such a big word.
We're not going to cut your funding. We're going to reallocate it, Debbie. It's
Okay.
easier to swallow.
So we spoke to Utah House Speaker Mike Schultz not too long ago, and he's been sending a really clear signal to colleges and universities that degrees and classes that they offer are going to get some extra scrutiny.
That's right. You're going to have to justify the classes and the degrees that you offer. That seems completely and totally reasonable to me. We'll be asking for your craziest college courses because they're out there. Here's one. We'll be taking your calls later in the show, but let me just play a little bit of the craziest class taken that we've heard so.
Would have to be the culture and appreciation of pizza.
Stop it. The culture? Say that again.
The culture and appreciation of pizza.
The culture and appreciation. It's a pizza tasting class. That's right. If my parents were paying for my college and they heard I was taking a pizza tasting class, they would ask for a refund in a heartbeat. I couldn't tell them I was taking that class with a straight face. But there's plenty of those classes, and we want to hear which are the craziest ones that you took.
Launch countdown. 1.
There's an eerie new clue that has emerged in the shooting death of United Healthcare's CEO. We reported it as breaking news yesterday right here on our show. He was walking into an investors conference in New York, right across the street from the hotel that he was staying in when he was gunned down and killed. National news media reporting now that the words delay and depose were found on a live round and a shell casing tied to the shooter. What could this mean for a possible motive? We know the shooter's still on the lam this morning. NYPD out in force on the hunt for him. Witnesses speaking out about what they saw.
I was paying attention, was holding my phone, then I hear the shot, And when I look, the guy was a gun, like, the silent gun, like a black gun.
So he said it's a silent gun. He said he was worried for his own safety as well. Brad Garrett, ABC News' crime and terrorism analyst, joining us from Washington, D.C. on the latest.
We've seen pictures and we've seen video. The video is very, very hard to watch of this man being killed. And the gun, the weapon that was used, but the details, the shell casings, that's where we want to focus a lot of this discussion. Does this give us any kind of clue of who this could have been?
Dave and Dujanovic.
The launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top national story.
Brad Garrett of ABC News joining us in about 8 minutes with the latest developments. What those etched words on those shell casings could mean. CNN, also ABC reporting. CNN reporting specifically that law enforcement sources say the words delay and depose were found on a live round and a shell casing that have been tied to the shooter, Dave.
And listen, this is the CEO of a major health company, right? There's a lot of frustration out there. I don't know if this has a connection, but of course, who hasn't been through an experience with insurance or medical care that is profoundly expensive or frustrating or unjust in your mind? That's when I hear something etched, written on the shell casings, I think, okay, this is more than just a random act of violence. Now, this is something that New York City Police has been very, very clear from the get-go. They said, we do not think in any way that this is a random act of violence. We feel like this is targeted.
So let's add this to the list of other evidence that the cops have told us and told national media that they have recovered. We knew from yesterday's news conference, Chief of Detectives Joe Kenny talking in depth about what they had at that moment, which was just hours after the gunman had killed that CEO.
We're working through that cell phone. Obviously, we'll be processing it forensically. There was one witness standing right next to the victim when he was shot. We're still trying to identify a witness.
So they collect a cell phone not far from where the shooting happened. They'll be able to look at that for digital evidence. They have witnesses, or at least a witness. They also have surveillance video. New York is loaded up with surveillance cameras. So they have surveillance video, and they've been able to put out a photo of the gunman. They've also discovered, apparently, a candy wrapper and a water bottle in the area that could give them even more evidence. What kind of evidence? Of course, DNA evidence. That's a possibility as well.
You've also got the GPS on the city bike that this individual, the suspect, jumped on and rode away into the Central Park area. So they're trying to track down the GPS location of this bike.
Next, let's get Brad Garrett, ABC News' crime and terrorism analyst, live on the line to get the latest analysis on what those two etched words could mean in terms of a motive.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
A house explosion this afternoon.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
Eileen talks about her experience with 3-day kitchen and bath.
A lot of gross kitchen in the beginning, crack formica, bad floor, ripped linoleum, and I decided to heck with this. I want it done. And I found an ad from 3-day kitchen and bath. I called him. Dave brought all of his stuff. We talked about what I wanted. I chose the materials. It was very easy. He came in. He did what he said. They did it in the time frame that they said, at the cost that they said. His crew was delightful. We came home. Everything had been cleaned up. I would say people are silly not to do 3-day kitchen and bath. I just love it. It's just like I moved into a new home.
It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-day kitchen and bath.
This Christmas, give a gift that strengthens faith and brings lasting peace. In his new book, The Rock of Our Redeemer, David A. Bednar invites you to anchor your life to Jesus Christ. Through divine invitations, Elder Bednar shows you how to deepen your covenant connection, increase your spiritual knowledge, and gather gospel truths. This book is perfect for loved ones seeking strength to press on through Jesus Christ. The Rock of Our Redeemer by David A. Bednar, available now at desertbook.com and in stores.
Do you know how to tell if a clogged drain is something to worry about or not? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I understand it's annoying and inconvenient, but sometimes a clogged drain can be a sign there's a more serious issue with your sewer main line. If the drains in the lowest level of your home aren't draining, or you flush a toilet and it comes up somewhere else like a shower or a floor drain, I'm urging you to look at this as more than just an annoyance. The last thing I want you to experience is a sewer backup. If you're a homeowner experiencing any of these issues, the first step would be to snake the line to see if it's just a blockage, which one of our drain techs can do for only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Imagine struggling with a slow, outdated computer that takes forever to load anything, that randomly freezes up and is filled with viruses and malware.
Now picture yourself with a powerful desktop or laptop that runs smoothly and efficiently, making your work and entertainment seamless.
Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
Looking for the best gift ever? That's what you get at Minky Couture, the original luxury blanket company. Use code KSL50 online and in stores to receive 50% off. Visit minkycouture.com.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Andy Farnsworth. First, Syrian insurgents have entered the central city of Hama after days of intense clashes with government forces. The Syrian army said Thursday it has withdrawn from Hama after insurgents broke through its defenses in another setback for President Bashar Assad. Second, the number of drug overdose deaths has fallen nationally for the first time since before the pandemic. Third, an 88-year-old man is dead after a Kanab police chief is accused of running over and killing him. Right now, it's 28 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top national story.
We're going to get just a moment with Brad Garrett of ABC News to help us break down what these words that have been apparently written or etched on the shell casings that have been linked to the shooter in the killing of that CEO, United Healthcare in New York. What do they mean? And some CNN is reporting that the couple of words like delay and depose were written on the bullets, while ABC News is reporting that deny, defend, and depose were written on the bullet. At any rate, this is potentially linked to, lingo and wording that's used in the insurance industry. And you were saying earlier, Dave, when we opened the show, that there's no doubt that there are people in this United States who are frustrated with insurance.
Yeah, I mean, United Healthcare has 50-something million people, about 90% of that they serve here in the United States. Of course, there's going to be a lot of people that have had bad experiences with the healthcare system, whether they have things denied or it becomes too expensive. I have absolutely no doubt there are countless cases. So was this a clear tie, between someone that felt that they were wrong? We don't know, but it does seem like there are some clues that open up that possibility, certainly.
Yeah, NYPD is going to cast a more of a broad net, looking at all possibilities. But Brad Garrett, ABC News' crime and terrorism analyst, live on the line with us from Washington, D.C. right now. They certainly must be at least, they're going to be looking at this as a possibility of a motive. Are we correct there, Brad?
Oh, I think definitely. I mean, you have to look at shootings like this kind of fall into the category, is this a contract or murder for hire shooter? Or is this somebody that's been aggrieved, to your point, through a claim, or they had a relative die, or they were injured themselves because of lack of insurance or whatever it might be? And I guarantee you they probably have a team of people to just review all the threats they get on any given day. So there's one side of this case, but clearly the quicker resolution in this case obviously is to catch the shooter. Whether the shooter was hired by somebody or the shooter is actually an aggrieved person who had an agenda maybe against Brian Thompson, but maybe just against United Healthcare. And this was an easy place to make a mark because there was an investors meeting apparently. Excuse me, it was about to start in the Midtown Hilton. So, yeah, clearly he planned this out. I'll have to tell you, the location and when he did this is so high risk that he would have gotten caught or got into a shootout with the police. I mean, there's probably more cops in Manhattan than any other part of New York at any given time. This is during when people are going to work, and he basically gets there early, goes to Starbucks, ends up over on the street in front of where you go into the Midtown Hilton, and waited until Brian showed up, and then shot him in the back, gun jammed. He cleared the jam, it looks like pretty flawlessly, and refired, and then walked away casually, and then took off running and ran to an e-bike.
We're speaking with Brad Garrett, ABC News crime and terrorism analyst. And Brad, as you were talking about one of the many possibilities, maybe a murder for hire, this is something I think of in novels and movies. How common is the murder for hire?
You'd be surprised. I don't know, in a given year, how many cases I talk about on radio or television about husbands or wives hiring somebody and inevitably gets them caught, because the person then turns to the police and said they're trying to hire me to kill their spouse. And so it happens with some regularity. I'm not convinced that's what we have here. I think it's possible until they catch the shooter. I'm not sure we're going to know. But, whatever was etched on these casings that, at ABC is saying deny, defend, depose are, could be construed clearly as insurance lingos. Now, keep in mind, one definition of deposed is to get rid of somebody. So, who knows what's in the mind of whoever etched that on the casings, whether that's the shooter or somebody else.
Well, Brad, I was going to say the shooter still on the run this morning. Looks like maybe NYPD is maybe getting closer. They searched a hostel this morning, and I just want to play a clip. This is Chief of Detectives Joe Kenny of the NYPD talking to the evidence they found almost immediately at the scene or nearby the scene yesterday.
We're working through that cell phone. Obviously, we'll be processing it forensically. There was one witness standing right next to the victim when he was shot. We're still trying to identify witness.
So let's focus on that cell phone. Likely going to bring in the FBI to analyze that and see what digital evidence they can lift from that. And then they, on top of that, also apparently find a candy wrapper and a water bottle near the scene that could have been carried or opened by the shooter.
That's exactly right. He's in the Starbucks a period of time before the shooting. It's a block or two away. There's video of him in the Starbucks. I think he maybe purchased a bottle of water, so the hope would be, if that's the correct bottle of water they've picked up, that if he drank out of that bottle, you could maybe potentially pull up DNA, maybe. If he had on gloves, you're not going to get any fingerprints, but maybe he handled the bottle inside Starbucks without gloves. So there's all those possibilities. I'm still not exactly clear on what type of e-bike he left on. In other words, did he leave on his own or a stolen e-bike, or did he leave on a rented bike? I think there are city banks or bikes in New York. If he left on a city bike, they have GPS trackers on them, so we'll see if that has relevance to play into this. You also could pull down all the cell phones that were being used around the time of the shooting, because there was one surveillance photograph of the shooter talking on a cell phone. Now, that could be a burner phone, a phone that he bought, but there would be no record other than the calls that he made that morning, and that would be it. And you'd pretty much have to have the phone ever to figure that out. So we'll see if that leads NYPD / the FBI anyplace.
As we're looking now at some images that police have released of the suspect being unmasked at a hostel, I wonder what kind of, as technology has changed, artificial intelligence, face recognition, what kind of advantage that having an unmasked photo now plays into it.
Yeah, it depends on the quality of the photo. I know which ones you're referring to, where he does have a hood up, but he has nothing covering his face. In one photograph, I think he's actually smiling. Maybe there's enough to work with there. And the question is he in anybody's database?
Right.
It would be just like fingerprints or DNA. If they're able to luckily get either or both of those, if he's not in anybody's system, they obviously do you a lot of good once you catch him, but not until.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time. Brad Garrett, ABC News crime and terrorist analyst out of Washington. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, a brazen, cold-blooded murder in front of that hotel yesterday. We covered it here live as we were getting new details in. And just to recap, they've got apparently a candy wrapper, which could show human DNA, also a water bottle that Brad alluded to may have been purchased at that coffee shop, Starbucks, not too far from the murder scene. That could lead to additional DNA. They've got the cell phone that may or may not lead them to any details in terms of digital evidence, depending on if it was a burner phone. And if it is not a burner phone, then perhaps it shows, who the phone is registered to, and of course, text messages, any sort of other phone calls that were made. And then also, they'll be able to triangulate and capture where that cell phone was hitting, the cell phone signal was hitting towers, and be able to perhaps determine some sort of a trail. Of course, if the cell phone was left at the scene, it wouldn't show a trail after the gunman left the scene on that bicycle, but they had cameras throughout. The city is littered with cameras that police can, certainly use to their advantage, but there have been times when the cameras have not helped police, and certainly the witness evidence or the witness interviews may also be able to help them detail who this suspect is. But as of right now, Dave, they still do not have anybody in custody.
Yeah, the manhunt is on for that New York City killer. We will continue to follow this closely.
Straight ahead, Utah Governor Spencer Cox speaking out about his thoughts on the presidential election.
I'm hoping we've learned some lessons too from that election. But there are a lot of people that don't want to learn those lessons and want to just explain it away. It's just inflation. That's I hear that from many of them. It's just inflation, and I think it's more than just inflation.
Dave, you were sitting in on the editorial board meeting when the governor was here at Broadcast House yesterday, And you're going to break it down for us about what he said about the presidential election next.
It's 9:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top local story this hour. A police chief in southern Utah was involved in an auto pedestrian crash last month. Utah Highway Patrol says Kanab Police Chief Tom Cram hit and seriously injured a man in a crosswalk in Kanab just over 2 weeks ago while driving his city-owned police vehicle. Authorities say Cram didn't see the pedestrian as he turned into the sunlight. Cram told KSL TV he can't comment on the case, but confirmed he is still on active duty while the case is being investigated. An 88-year-old man is dead after being hit by a car in a Cedar City parking lot near 100 North, 100 West. Police say they arrived to find the man trapped under the car, and emergency responders were unable to revive him. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The acting director of the Secret Service is promising accountability for the attempted assassination attempt on President-elect Donald Trump in July during his presidential campaign. Acting director of the Secret Service, Ronald Rowe.
July 13th was a failure of the Secret Service to adequately secure the Butler Farm Show site and protect President-elect Trump. That abject failure underscored critical gaps in Secret Service operations, and I recognize that we did not meet the expectations of the American public, Congress, and our protectees.
Rowe says the discipline of employees who were at fault is still occurring with due process. Your money at this moment, the Dow is down 0.2% to 44,910, and the S&P is at 6,085. Coming up, lots of haze out there. Looks like it's going to stick with us through the day. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Your business needs a network it can count on.
Power's out.
Comcast Business has you covered with Wi-Fi backup to help keep your business up and running, even when your power goes out.
Everybody in the warehouse good?
Lights are out, but the Wi-Fi's up. Let's power on.
It's from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Break room, you good?
Can't microwave my burrito, but Wi-Fi's fine. Let's power on.
Power on with the leader in connectivity, Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ask about Wi-Fi backup for your business or get started with reliable internet and advanced security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract, plus for a limited time. Ask about an $800 holiday bonus prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call or go online to ComcastBusiness.com today. Ins 12/15/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabit per second internet and security edge. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome to Staples.
Help! My family's in for the holidays and I need gift ideas.
That's why we're here. Staples has amazing deals on everything you need. Photo gifts, laptops, and gaming systems. Even custom holiday cards and shipping solutions to send gifts to the family that can't make it.
Perfect! Have anything for Uncle Frank? I love him, but the guy is never quiet.
Noise-canceling headphones. For you.
You get it.
Unwrap huge holiday savings at Staples. And right now at Staples, save up to $350 on select computers. Ends 12/28, in-store only.
The temperatures outside have dropped a bunch, and now my family and I are enjoying the benefits of our brand new windows from Advanced Window Products in a different way. During the summer, it was nice to be able to keep the cold air in. Now it's nice to see how much more efficiently we can keep warm air inside. We replaced 20 of our builder-grade windows with high-efficiency windows and a glass door to our backyard with a built-in pet door, and we have just been thrilled with the results. We're already saving on our energy bill. We're helping pay for the windows with the rebate available through Dominion Energy. Our price didn't include any middleman markups because they did the sales and the installation all in-house. My wife and I love that there's a lifetime warranty serviced by their local team, labor, glass, parts included. I promise they're going to treat you right and you'll have an amazing experience from start to finish, just like I did. Right now is a great time to do it. Also, they're having an end-of-season sale. Save $2,500 on 10 windows or more. 801-850-9100 or advancedwindows.com.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks? Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, the ramp from West Davis Highway southbound to get onto southbound I-15 remains closed. It's due to a hazmat spill the crews are still trying to clean up. Now, not only do you have a couple of miles of delay on the West Davis Highway as everybody has to transition to Legacy Parkway from there, you've got delays on southbound I-15 between Farmington and Centerville because the right lane is blocked right where that West Davis Highway ramp meets 15. Good news is no delays anywhere else, but we still have traffic lights flashing red in all directions on 7800 South, 3800 West due to an earlier crash. Get started on your dream kitchen or bath countertops with special financing from Bedrock Quartz for up to 18 months. Visit bedrockquartz.com for details. That's bedrockquartz.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Air quality will be in the moderate range again today. Haze will last through the day. Highs will be in the mid-40s. Right now, it is 28 degrees and, hazy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, your voice, your vote, 2024. Special coverage on KSL News Radio.
Governor Spencer Cox came to Broadcast House to talk to our editorial board about a number of things. But we're going to focus on right now is his reflection of the 2024 election. And Dave, my co-host, was in that editorial board meeting because you are a member of our editorial board.
Yeah, and I like this conversation a month after it happened. I think having a little bit of space to be able to reflect on what really happened, because we're so quick to say, I know what happened.
That's a unique and refreshing take on that, Dave, because we do want answers right away to so many things, especially when it comes to politics. We can pontificate the day after. We know why and what and how, but I like that. That's a great way to start this conversation.
What happens, I think, so often when we first start getting results, and we are following election results minute by minute. Every time something breaks, it gets tweeted out, and we're just consuming it so quickly. Now that we are literally 1 month removed from the election, I think we can take a breath and be a little bit more emotionless, because emotions are high, right? We all have our team that we want to win, or our candidate that we want to win. And I think now that we have a chance to sit back, this is why I found what Governor Cox said so insightful. And I think this is where we want to take the discussion. Governor Cox said some of the problems with the elections that the parties, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, are just too stubborn. So instead of being flexible with their messaging and policies, what he says, in the past, what we've seen is they just double down on their policies and their rhetoric, and then they just wait for the next election cycle. Like, we're going to ride this out for another 4 years or 6 years, 2 years, whatever it might be, and then we're just going to get elected next time with a razor-thin margin. But he thinks that this election might be changing.
One of the problems with elections recently in the United States is that they're so close that nobody ever learns any lessons. Neither of the parties learn a lesson. Whether it's the midterms or the presidential elections, the parties who have lost, all they've learned is all they have to do is wait until the next time and they'll win. Also probably by a razor-thin margin. And so this wasn't razor-thin. I do think that this was an earthquake election, not because of the margins necessarily, but because of who voted and how they voted. And it wasn't what we all thought it was going to be. It wasn't just men voting one way or women voting another way. What you saw was, especially demographically, the way we've looked at the world over the past 30 years, maybe longer, didn't hold true this time. You had Latinos voting for a Republican in very large numbers. In fact, a majority of Latino men voting in large numbers. You had black men voting in a way that I think surprised a lot of people. And that realignment that I do think is happening out there, I think we've seen it happening for a long time.
As he was making those points, Debbie, I couldn't help but think how often the Republican Party or the Democratic Party just take the voters for granted. They just say, oh, you voted for me in the past, rubber stamp, send me again. Because oftentimes that's what we do. If you're an incumbent, you just get rubber stamped. You just get reelected. Over 90% in our federal elections of candidates that were incumbent, they get reelected. And I think when you take for granted that you're going to vote for me no matter what I say, it draws away the conversation of, okay, are you still speaking to my issues? Because if you're not speaking to my issues, that's when I'm going to move on from you and be done with you.
And that's what the governor is referring to with the how Latinos voted, how black males voted, and largely, in many cases, went for Donald Trump.
Yeah, in historic numbers. That's not something that Republicans have typically had is Latino voters come their way or black males come their way. And that those margins, even though it's a pretty slim, narrow demographic that would shift over, nevertheless, when you spread that over the entire country, then you see Donald Trump not win just the Electoral College, but also the popular vote.
See, I don't think you can dismiss the elephant in the room, and that is that President Biden didn't get out of the way until just a few months before the election. And then the Democrats anointed Kamala Harris as their presidential nominee. So they didn't go through a traditional process. I know she, at one point, has run for president in the past, but, she's new to a lot of young voters. Did not give her a lot of time to get out there, or for the Democrats to choose if she was the right candidate for them. So I don't think that should be overlooked either.
And he spoke to that a little bit of the candidates and maybe the future candidates, because I've seen some recent polling like, all right, so let's look ahead to 2028. Who should be the Democratic candidate? And top of the list right now, maybe it's because she's top of mind, but it was Kamala Harris, top of the list. And Governor Cox is like, not so fast.
Does somebody learn a lesson from this election? And you've seen a lot of that happening. I think there is some of that, and I think it's healthy. I think it's healthy to see my colleagues on the other side of the aisle who are asking really hard questions. Governors, especially, they have a very deep bench. There are a lot of really great governors out there who are Democrats right now, who do appeal to a different part of America. Obviously, I like Republicans, and so I'm hoping we've learned some lessons too from that election. But there are a lot of people that don't want to learn those lessons and want to just explain it away. It's just inflation. That's I hear that from many of them. It's just inflation, and I think it's more than just inflation.
And I think he's right there. I think it is more than just inflation. We want to boil it down sometimes and reduce the sauce so much that where you can say, okay, we know it was just the economy. It was just the inflation. Where I think it's more varied than that. I don't think just inflation resonated with everybody. It certainly played a big role, but it will be very interesting to me, Debbie, to your point. What does the next round of candidates from the Democrats look like, even from the Republicans as well, because Donald Trump is done in 4 years, and Republicans are going to have to rally around a new face and a new voice.
Straight ahead, we're going to talk about the younger generation, young adults, 20-somethings, buried in credit card debt. And before you say, they just don't know how to spend their money. They're reckless with their paychecks. hold on a minute. There is something that I read in this article about Gen Zers being up to their eyeballs in credit card debt that I had not considered until now. That's next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Do you have squeaky wheels on your garage door? Because I had very, very squeaky. I wasn't sneaking past anybody when I was raising and closing my garage door. It's why I'm really happy to learn more about Advanced Garage Door, because they can give you a free inspection and tune-up once a year if they install a motor or a garage door.
That's right. They've got these certified technicians who are available 24/7 with same-day service. So if you need a garage door repaired, maybe you just need a new garage door because your old one is tired and it just needs to be replaced. Advanced Garage Doors, they're your go-to.
Yeah, financing is available as well. I do kind of like that idea, Debbie, is going on the website and designing my dream garage door. We just painted our garage door years ago, and that just freshened up our house in such a huge way. Had we actually gone in and gotten a new, updated garage door, I just love the way they look. They're so beautiful.
Yeah, and that's what's so great about their website. So make sure you give them a call today, or you can go to their website. The phone number to call them is 801-252-5977. Again, let me give you that number one more time, 801-252-5977.
Or check them out online at advanced-door.com.
Dear Santa, thank you for brightening up my Christmas. It made it a lot better. Thank you for the shoes. I'm very grateful for the presents because I usually don't get too much, so that really brightens this year up for me. Also, on behalf of my mother, thank you.
At KSL, it's our hope that every child will have a warm and joyful holiday season. Please donate generously to KSL's Quarters for Christmas.
Every dollar raised goes to buy shoes and warm clothes for Utah children in need. Give what you can at KSLQuarters.com.
$182,000. According to CBS News, Americans lose out on an average of $182,000 in Social Security income because they file for their benefits at the wrong time. Learn how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions. This free analysis pinpoints the optimal time to file for Social Security while considering the impact on your taxes, IRA and 401k withdrawals, and Medicare premiums. If you've saved more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. Discover how you could wring every nickel out of your Social Security benefits. Call 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors.
Now is the perfect moment to do what I did last year at this time, and that is to get on your SOTA weight loss journey. Why wait for a resolution in January? Your health can't wait. So now's the perfect time to join. Imagine going into 2025 in the best shape of your life. SOTA weight loss delivers fast results, but here's the thing, it's without drugs, shots, pills, or crazy side effects. You don't gain it all back when you're finished because SOTA works with you for the rest of your life. I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months. Nothing feels better than looking down and seeing another 3 to 5 pounds come off each week. And the health benefits have been amazing. I lowered my A1C. I sleep better. Look, if you want proof, go to sotaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Click on Request a Nutritionist Callback and take advantage of SOTA's biggest savings of the year and ask about the holiday special. SOTA will change your life for the better because it's, say it with me, say of the art.
Experience the timeless Christmas classic that has captivated audiences nationwide. Join Michael McLean, one of the most prolific songwriters and storytellers of our time, as he reprises his beloved role of Uncle John in The Forgotten Carols musical. With an unforgettable story and songs that are a Christmas tradition for families everywhere. See the spectacular live show in Orem, Salt Lake, Ogden, and Cedar City. Tickets at ForgottenCarols.com.
It's a new chapter for energy in your community. Dominion Energy is now Enbridge Gas in Utah, Wyoming, and Idaho. With 175 years experience delivering reliable energy, we're pleased to welcome customers formerly served by Dominion Energy to our Enbridge family. While the name of your gas company has changed, we remain your first choice for affordable natural gas. For more information, visit enbridgegas.com. That's ENBRIDGE gas.com. Tomorrow is on.
Join us at the Festival of Trees, a magical event benefiting the children at Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital from December 4th to December 7th. Tickets at festivalofTreesutah.org.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Andy Farnsworth. First, American Fork Canyon is closed while police work to free a man stuck in his car after it rolled down a steep hillside. Second, Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are expected on Capitol Hill tomorrow. The two are heading up President-elect Donald Trump's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Third, a proposal to add a new homeless shelter in Weber County is getting public support. Right now, it's 28 degrees and hazy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Right on the money. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, I caught this article in Business Insider this morning, and I thought, I'm going to talk to Dave about this because we both have Gen Zer kids. I mean, your son's not quite a Gen Zer, is he? Is he right there?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, he's right there? Okay. So we both have Gen Zer kids, and I think we judge our Gen Zer kids, our 20-something-year-old kids, like, you're terrible with money. Stop spending all your money. You don't know how to handle and budget a paycheck. Well, first of all, I ought to look at myself in the mirror if I'm blaming my kids for that, right? Like, what did I teach them? What did they learn in school? What did we reinforce at home? But there's so much credit card debt now that for Gen Zers, they, according to Business Insiders, are accumulating credit card debt at historically high rates. I'm going to give you an amount in just a moment. But I'm also going to tell you something that I learned from this article that I hadn't considered before, that I think is driving this credit card debt through the roof for a lot of our kids.
Credit cards, at least from my kids' point of view, are used not for the big things, right? So they're not putting their housing on a credit card. That's not happening. It's the little things. It's when I go to the grocery store, when I'm putting gas in my vehicle, that's where it starts going on the credit cards. And when you start doing that consistently and you kind of get in that habit and you're just, pay this off later, that's where I think this grows so quickly.
So Business Insider went through and they featured a number of Gen Zers. One's named Timothy. He accumulates $15,000 in debt using 3 credit cards. One of them has a 28% interest rate on that card. So, you can see you're making the minimum payment. Maybe you're getting farther and further behind because the interest alone is adding more and more to that credit card debt.
And when you're talking about just $1,000 at nearly 30%, when you walk that through with kids, and this is in part what I think they really struggle with, is understanding, listen, that's an extra $300. That's if you don't add anything else. It's just $1,000. That 30% is going to cost you an additional $300. So what happens if that starts growing to $2,000, $3,000, $5,000?
Stress.
Yes.
You can't keep up. Nico, who is an advertising strategist, amasses $20,000 in credit card debt. Starts using credit cards after he makes a move to Chicago. And then struggles with $1,100 a month rent on his $36,000 a year annual salary. And now he's trying to make between $700 and $900 a month monthly payments to reduce his debt. But he's $20,000 in debt. Then there's Emmeline, a web developer, gets in debt $6,000 when she went to a special boot camp for coding. Coding's a big deal, right? Yeah. And a lot of our young people are going to be in this world of coding, and they try to expand their knowledge by going to these boot camps and conferences. So using the cards now for basic necessities. And then there's William. Amasses $20,000 in credit card debt over 4.5 years. So what we're finding with the youth, at least from this article that Business Insider did, is that they're using their credit cards now to keep up with basic necessities. Rent. They're subsidizing their rent by using credit cards to pay groceries.
Yeah.
And if they can use a credit card to pay for gas, to get their car somewhere, get their car repaired, they're using it for that too. Some of it, however, does have to do with we're living in the moment kind of stuff, like a lot of travel, a lot of buying, meals for and having them delivered to the front door. So they're trying to get their brains wrapped around this. What Business Insider is saying, the first thing you need to do is you got to stop the spending. And that's difficult if you're using your credit cards to live day to day.
When you were describing that, the gentleman that had $20,000 in credit card debt that he'd gained over 4 or 5 years, is what you said. When you break that down, that's only maybe $400 a month that you're putting on your credit card, but you're putting it on consistently. Now, $400, that's $100 a week. Right? I mean, that can very easily be done with just maybe going out to dinner a couple times. Right. And that's where it gets dangerous, is when you start stretching it out over the 4 or 5 years and you're doing $500. Like, how do you get out of that? Now, how do you catch up when you're $20,000 in debt?
I'm going to give you some solutions in just a second. But here's the thing that stood out to me the most that I hadn't considered, because I did not grow up in a generation where digital payments were a thing. If I wanted to use a credit card, and in the beginning I was basically only granted a store credit card, thank you, JCPenney. Literally my first store credit card, JCPenney. You had to go to the store. You had to swipe the credit card. They gave me a very low limit. It was $250. I mean, granted, this is like the 1980s, okay, where things didn't cost what they do now, but it kept things under control. I couldn't even tell you right now what the interest rate was on that thing, because I'm sure I didn't even know what an interest rate was at the time. But what kids have today, 20-something-year-olds and younger, are digital payments, right? You can pay with Apple Pay.
Yeah.
You can order Uber Eats just by the click of a phone. You can make digital payments by tapping your phone at the cash register now. And that begins to suck our younger generation dry. And I didn't have that. It wasn't so easy to make purchases back in the day.
That's a great point. When we were paying with cash, we had to reach into our wallet, pull it out, hand it over, right?
And it hurt.
And it hurt. And even when you have a credit card, you have to pull the credit card out. You've got to swipe it. You got to tap it. When you were describing the digital payments, I was just thinking about a little fast food place that I like to frequent every once in a while. They've linked my card to the app. When I use the app, I go through the drive-through, and I'm like, give me a Diet Coke, large, please, thank you. I don't even have to hand them a credit card anymore. It's linked to the app. All they do is hand me a receipt. I don't have to pull anything out of my wallet. I just order. It is the easiest thing in the world. I can forget my wallet at home. As long as I have my phone, I can still go through the fast food, order it, and then it's linked to my card. So they've simplified it and made it so easy that you don't have that emotional connection to your card or cash.
First stop is unlink that card from that app. That's the first thing you need to do. The other suggestion is go with a zero transfer balance credit card. And in the days ahead, we'll be looking into what the best 0% transfer credit cards are out there on the market right now. But you got to stop the spending before you start your pledge to start getting out of debt.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. Our top story this hour, we have breaking news. Governor Spencer Cox is taking the wraps off his $30.6 billion proposal for Utah's state budget this morning. And among the first things he discussed with the KSL Deseret News editorial board is removing the state income tax on Social Security benefits.
In the past few years, we focused on our vulnerable populations, on our kids. We want to focus a little more this legislative session on our seniors and helping them.
The state removed the tax for lower-income seniors last year. Utah is one of only 8 states, though, that still taxes Social Security benefits. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, an anxious time for transgender youth and their families awaiting decisions on transgender-related health care for minors. This follows arguments before the U.S. Supreme Court. On Wednesday, ABC News senior national correspondent Terry Moran has more.
This is one of the most divisive issues in the country. It played a big role in the presidential election. And in court, this case pits a state's power to regulate medical treatments in the name of protecting the health and safety of minor children against the constitutional rights of trans kids and their families.
26 states, including Utah, have legal restrictions on transgender-related care for minors. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average is down 104 points right now, while the NASDAQ is up 21. And our KSL weather. We've got the sunshine, but the bad air quality is hanging around. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the 9s, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Oh no, stomach issues again?
Stomach issues? Who are you? Your pancreas. I could be the real reason for your diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose oily stools.
I thought it was my stomach.
People often do, but any of these symptoms could mean having a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and speak with your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Right here on KSL News Radio 102.7.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now, during our Cyber Week sale, save 20% on most Sleep Number smart beds, plus free home delivery with any base. Limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Jeff Kaplan. When you're online, that's sometimes a source of fourth-hand information. Somebody does the reporting. Another website Googles, they find it, they rewrite it, and by the time you read it, you know the old game telephone. But KSL is a source of primary information. We have reporters on the street. They're out in the field finding out the details. And the difference between online and KSL News Radio, night and day.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the Dino Pay app. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, the fog is moving in onto I-15 from the west side of Davis County. So right where West Davis Highway merges onto I-15 is where you're going to have that reduced visibility line if you're northbound. Southbound, as you come out of Centerville, is where the fog will clear up. Unfortunately, that ramp from West Davis Highway onto southbound I-15 remains closed from an earlier spill, and so that is causing delays both on West Davis and I-15 in the area. And we have a crash northbound I-15 in Draper right before you get to Bangor Highway on the left shoulder. The Festival of Trees now through December 7th at Mountain America Expo Center, a magical holiday tradition celebrating children's health in our Utah community. Tickets on sale now at festivalofTreesUtah.org. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll see sunny skies with highs in the mid-40s. Our bad air quality continues, with a cold front expected to bring some improvement on Sunday. Right now, 32 degrees with some fog around. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
We're going to talk timeshares. So if you own one or you're thinking about buying one or you know somebody who owns one and just wants to get out of it, this article in the Washington Post caught Dave's eye. It's entitled, Timeshares Can Trap You. My family couldn't escape until my dad died.
There's some times where I think it makes sense, and I think exploring some of that. But I will say this. My wife and I were married for 5 minutes when we got one of these calls from the timeshare company. It's like, hey, we're going to send you down to Vegas for 2 or 3 days. All you have to do is come listen to one of our timeshare presentations. We go, and we're there for a couple of hours. I'm barely making $24,000 a year. We are newlyweds. We have nothing. We're going to college still. And I could not believe they're like, oh, yeah, no, you can afford this. It's just this much a month, and here's a few things.
So explain how it was going to work, at least from your point of view. Did you have to pay a lump sum up front, and then once a year you pay a maintenance fee?
Yeah, exactly. And they were going to put it on a payment plan, so there was an upfront cost. I can't remember exactly what the number was, but then they said, oh, you'd have some essentially HOA fees, some maintenance fees, but these were brand new locations, brand new buildings. So like, you're not going to have to worry about that for 25 years.
And then you could use it for a week or 2 weeks a year.
And then you could trade it around. If you didn't want to just go to Las Vegas, then you could go somewhere. I think the one they were pitching us was in Las Vegas. They said, oh, Las Vegas is the easiest one to get away with. And then you just trade Las Vegas for Lincoln, Nebraska, or wherever you want to go.
Now, you didn't go for this, right?
No,
you walked away.
Yeah, we said no.
Did you get a free meal out of this or something?
No, we got a couple nights stay down in Vegas.
And that's kind of standard, right? They offer you a night's stay or something like that and a free meal. There are people out there, there's a YouTube channel dedicated to this, Timeshare Traveler, who thinks there are benefits to owning a timeshare.
I needed to be able to force myself to have a great vacation. I would be overly frugal and I'd stay at Motel 6 and I wouldn't experience all the wonderful things I've done. I'm actually a frugal traveler. Ongoing costs are so much lower. I'll be in a place that maybe I'm paying $120 in maintenance fees a night, and there'll be somebody who's renting it for $400 to $500 or $600 a night. You know, a Motel 6 here in Honolulu is more expensive than my maintenance fees to stay, and I'm much happier in the places I'm staying.
So some people might find them a benefit because it does force them to take a vacation. They know where they're going to go, or like they have the timeshare trading pools that you can put your timeshare in, maybe trade it for another location. But then there are some people who find themselves stuck in timeshares. And in fact, the author of this Washington Post article says they couldn't get rid of their family's timeshare until his father died. Let's get with Jeff Ostrowski. He's with Bankrate. He's the mortgages and housing analyst for Bankrate. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, should we start with the list of things to look out for if you are in one of these timeshare presentations like Dave found himself in?
Yeah, I mean, I guess my experience, and probably Dave experienced this as well, is that the timeshare marketers are very adept at just pressing emotional buttons. They're targeting these to parents or grandparents. I know that at that point in your life you were just sort of a warm body, but I think the classic buyer is a parent or a grandparent who's thinking about the kids. They want to take the kids to Disney or wherever it is. And so they're not really thinking with their logical financial brains. They're thinking more with their emotional brains. And I think that the timeshare companies are very good at sort of bypassing all the financial logic and really looking at the emotional part of the vacation experience. And that's fine, but it definitely puts some people in a position to maybe be spending money that they shouldn't be spending.
That's such a great point, Jeff, because I remember to this day, it was something they said has stuck with me, and it was, do you prioritize vacationing with your family? And the answer was, yes, I do. But, as raising kids has gone on and money is tight, I would like to prioritize it, but that's not always a possibility. And I think, boy, if I had been strapped from the age of 25 on, every single year with fees and maintenance and repairs, that could have been absolutely crippling. So what are things you should look out for in a timeshare, or what should you expect when it comes to the cost?
Well, the latest industry figures are that that upfront cost that you mentioned is about $24,000 or $25,000. So that gives you basically a 1/52nd share, however the particular timeshare unit is structured. But it gives you essentially 1 week out of the year at this property, and it's sort of like a purchasing real estate. Federal regulators have told the timeshare industry not to refer to these as investments because, as you can see on the timeshare resale sites, the original owners are reselling these for much less than they paid for the most part. But it's typically about $25,000 up front, and obviously that can range pretty widely depending on the location and quality of the property. And then the maintenance fees are probably like $1,500 a year. And so from my perspective, just doing some basic financial analysis, I'm thinking, okay, well, if I put $25,000 in a high yield savings account making 4% a year, there's $1,000. I pay taxes on that. So to say I've got $750, and then I'm paying $1,500 a year in maintenance fees. So there's $2,250. I think I would rather just apply that $2,250 to an Airbnb, to a hotel, and just skip the timeshare process. That's my analysis, but obviously there are hundreds of thousands and maybe a few million Americans who've made a different calculus and decided that the timeshare is worth it.
Jeff, and by the way, we're speaking with Jeff Ostrowski with Bankrate, and we're talking about timeshares. And Jeff, when we talk about the real estate component, it is like buying a piece of real estate in that don't you have a deed to the property, and if you decided to stop paying, that this could affect your credit?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, you're definitely committing yourself, not just to that upfront fee, but also to paying the maintenance fees. And then if you finance that upfront fee, as Dave was describing, then you're going to be paying finance charges, and you're obligating yourself to make those payments. So that's something to be aware of. So now back to just kind of like my basic advice on how to think about this. I would say that if you've already got your emergency savings account lined up, if you've got your retirement fully funded, if you've got your credit card debt paid off, and you've got $25,000 lying around, and you really want a timeshare, then fine. Maybe it's not going to hurt you financially. But if you're in that position that Dave described, where don't have any savings, you haven't hit all those other financial milestones, then I would say you're probably better off just paying for your vacation as you go, paying for a hotel room for a week or paying for a Vrbo or an Airbnb for a week. And I think that's probably a better financial solution for most middle-class Americans.
Jeff, in the final minute that we have, how do you get out of it? I've heard horror stories. If you've gotten into the timeshare business, how do you get out of it?
Yeah, and I don't have any direct expertise in that. I do know that there are many resale sites. At least half a dozen the prominent timeshare resale sites pop up when you do a Google search. So, I mean, you can sell. You're almost certainly going to get less than that initial fee. But you can sell these. So it certainly is possible, but you might have to sell it for less than you would like.
Well, thank you so much. Jeff Ostrowski, bank rates, mortgages, and housing analyst, live on the line talking about timeshares. Dave's indicated, how do you get out of it? This Washington Post article spells out how this one man, after his dad died, ended up getting his mom out of the timeshare. So we'll talk about that in 3 minutes, as well as take your live calls. Do you have a timeshare? Do you love it or do you regret it? 801-575-TALK. 801-575-TALK. Let's take your timeshare calls next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
Master Electrical Service has been around since 1954. Now they've joined with Mountain Home Services.
And it's so exciting because Mountain Home Services can work on your electrical. You've trusted Master Electrical with your electrical since 1954. Now that they've joined forces with Mountain Home Services, that means your EV chargers, all your electrical needs, generators, plus your HVAC, your heating and air, your plumbing.
And what that allows you to do is tackle it with somebody that you trust. Anything you need to do in your home, even if it's a new build, old build, private home, your company, they can service all of this with the same expertise, the experience that you've grown to love and adore for so many years.
And it's all with that upfront pricing guarantee, which means no hidden fees. That means the quote they give you up front is the price you pay when the job is done.
And they do fireplaces now too. So perfect time in the winter. Got to hang those little stockings over a fireplace. Make sure you reach out to Mountain Home Services. MountainHomeUtah.com is the website, MountainHomeUtah.com.
Or you can call them at 801-543-2222. Again, 801-543-2222.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
A house explosion this afternoon.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio.
Hello, car donation hotline.
Hi, I'd like to donate a car to the Utah Kidney Foundation. Are you in Utah?
Awesome. Let's get some info and we'll send you a tow truck.
But I want my car donation to benefit my neighbor in Farmington who needs a transplant. Are you in Utah?
That's a no. I'm in SoCal, but you're still donating to charity.
What charity?
Doesn't matter.
Yes, I want my donation to stay in Utah.
Righteous dude. You need to call tow cars in Utah. Locals only, am I right?
Oh, yeah. I remember tow cars with a K like kidney. It's on a billboard somewhere. TOWKARS.org. That's it. Towcars.org.
If you'd like your vehicle donation to help Utah kidney patients in the Beehive State, please use the web address on their billboard, towcars.org, to donate your old car or truck. That's TOWK like kidney, ARS. Towcars.org.
Get up to a 30% upfront bonus to use for your retirement income, or up to 12% per year to help grow your retirement income. Whether you're in retirement or will be retiring within 10 years, Trajan Wealth can offers some of the highest guarantees in the business. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know no one wants to work forever. We all need to retire someday, and I know you've worked hard for your money, so now is the time to guarantee it. Take advantage of up to a 30% upfront bonus for your retirement income, or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't woulda, shoulda, coulda. Get up to a 30% bonus just for opening an account, or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Retire the right way, the Trajan way, with Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. DBA in most states says Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax. They know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Arrive in style in a great fitting suit from Mr. Mac. They ensure a perfect fit, offering fast, free alterations by expert tailors at all 9 Mr. Mac stores. Arrive in style.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, Utah's governor wants to eliminate the state's remaining income tax on Social Security benefits. He's unveiling his proposed state budget this morning. Second, the U.S. Supreme Court looking at a Tennessee law restricting transgender-related health care for minors. Utah has a similar law. And third, Utah architecture students are coming up with their own ideas for restoring Salt Lake City's Japantown neighborhood. 32 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We're talking about timeshares, the positives and the negatives. If you own one, do you love it? Do you wish you could list it? 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Share your experience. Dave caught this article in the Washington Post about timeshares, and the author of the article said his family was kind of trapped in one, and then they couldn't figure out a way to get rid of it until after his dad died. And I'm going to explain in just a moment how they did that.
And as we were talking to Bankrate about this, one of the things that reminded me, because I've been to several over the years, mostly I just go to get the free meal, is that upfront cost. And I couldn't help but remember when I first went in, I was making $24,000 a year. And Jeff Ostrowski's like, you were just a warm body. I was definitely, that was all I was, the warm body. I was making $24,000 a year. The average cost of these timeshares, the initial upfront fee, is about $25,000 a year. How in the world could they look at me with a straight face and tell me, yeah, this is something you should prioritize with your new family? You got kids, coming in the future. You want to prioritize vacations. Like, yeah, that's probably true, but that's an expensive vacation.
You couldn't afford it.
No way, not even close.
You wouldn't have been able to afford it. And that's where Jeff Ostrowski, who's an analyst for Bankrate, and he's joined us before. We talk a lot about housing with him. He actually just moments ago compared the idea of spending that money up front, which was probably several $1,000s, to secure 1 week, maybe it's for 2 weeks at a timeshare location, and taking that money and just investing it.
Just doing some basic financial analysis, I'm thinking, okay, well, if I put $25,000 in a high yield savings account making 4% a year, that's there's $1,000. I pay taxes on that, so say I've got $750, and then I'm paying $1,500 a year in maintenance fees. So there's $2,250. I think I would rather just apply that $2,250 to an Airbnb, to a hotel, and just skip the timeshare process.
Who's done it and who's loved it? 801-575-TALK. Would love to hear your stories, because I felt, whether it was being preyed upon or I don't know what the reasoning is, but there was no way on earth that I could have afforded that when I was 24 years old, but they still pitched me on it.
Well, some people get into these and then they need to get out of them. You know, maybe a loved one dies, and then you read the fine print on the timeshare agreement that they signed, and you figure I think they call it like perpetuity. It passes down to the next living relative. Maybe that's, their son or their daughter. Well, in this case of this Washington Post article, the author was writing about timeshares, and knowing his mom still was holding on to one. His dad had passed away. He was able to figure out that by contacting the timeshare developer's customer service line, that his mom could possibly qualify for a relinquishment program based on a hardship. And she had to submit some documentation, a cancellation agreement. She had to sign a quitclaim deed back over to the timeshare company or the developer, prove that his dad had passed away through a death certificate, and then pay a processing fee of, it looks like it was $250. And that issue for his mother then was resolved. And she no longer had this annual payment hanging over her head. So that's one consideration. I thought that was helpful, because sometimes we do get into these contracts and then something happens in our lives. We lose a job. Something happens with our spouse. We go through a divorce. And now we feel like we just can't afford this anymore. So we got to figure out a way to get out of it. In a moment, I'm going to tell you what happened when I sat through a timeshare presentation in Las Vegas, same city you sat through a timeshare presentation in. Mine was a lot more recent, though. Mine was just a couple of years ago. And I'm going to tell you something I learned during that experience that I think will shed some light on whether, you feel enticed or perhaps pressured into paying that major upfront cost. You're getting some text, Dave. What are they saying?
I used to have my real estate license a few years ago. However, in Utah, you have to have a specific license to be able to represent the buy-sell of the timeshares. Most real estate agents are not allowed to represent on timeshare transactions. That's a good point, because even though it is in many ways treated as real estate, and then you can pass it down in your will from one person to another, it's still not allowed to be called an investment or viewed in that way or marketed that way.
So picture this. It was around Christmas time a few years ago, and I take my kids down to Las Vegas, and as part of our trip down there, we agreed to stay or to go through one of those timeshare presentations. Well, they didn't agree. I agreed for us, and I asked them to go with me. I'm like, I think we get a meal out of this. They're sold, right? They're in their 20s. And we sit through the presentation. We get there mid-morning. It's not too early, not too late. We're going to be there for about an hour or two maybe. And the upfront costs, I don't remember the exact price, but it was expensive. I remember sitting there next to my kids, and they're sort of like, no, Mom, don't do it. Well, I went in with the intention of not doing it, but having the experience with two of my adult children, because I know that down the road they would be probably tapped through a postcard in the mail or maybe a phone call to come sit through one of these presentations. So I thought, well, I might as well sit through a presentation with them. And the upfront cost was a lot. I do remember that was just a lot, thousands of dollars. And it was for a 1-week stay, and the property that we were at was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. But in the end, we said, no, we're not going to do this. But as we wove our way out of the exit, I recall there were a couple of stops along the way where we talked to other salespeople who would then try to pitch us on signing an agreement to get a timeshare. I didn't want one, but again, just there for the experience, and I said no. And then we said no again at the end. But before we left, they were willing to sell us a timeshare that had either been sold back to the developer or perhaps defaulted on by a previous timeshare owner for pennies on the dollar compared to what that initial pitch was. And at that point, we were kind of like, oh, well, maybe. I mean, Dave, if it wasn't just a few $1,000s at most at the end of that
cost.
Yeah. I mean, reduced significantly, like an 80% savings from when we first started. We didn't sign. We didn't do it because I do recognize that the maintenance fees, will cost every single year. My family isn't always available as adults to travel together anymore like we did when they were kids. So for me, I was like, I didn't want to get into the business of trading a timeshare for another location, even though some people do it and they do it in a great way and they love it. I have friends who absolutely love it and they've done this for decades. They think, they speak very highly of their timeshare experience. But I do know like maintenance costs and that kind of thing, they can go up. So eventually we just walked away and we took our free meal and went to the restaurant.
Yeah, my buddy had his family had a place in Newport Beach, and they would travel same week. And the nice thing about it is everyone knew at the start of the year, this is the week we're getting together. We're going to Newport Beach. We're going to do this, and that. And I see the temptation. I see why people would like to do it, and I can see it working for a lot of people. It definitely did not work for 25-year-old Dave Noriega at the time. But I do like prioritizing travel. I think that's an important part of really decompressing in life. So I think it's a great – you just want to make sure you're going in with eyes wide open.
It's 10:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. Our top story this hour – we have breaking news. Utah's governor unveiling his $30.6 billion state budget proposal this morning. And among the top budget items, Governor Spencer Cox told the KSL Deseret News editorial board he wants to eliminate the state income tax on Social Security benefits.
Eliminating the tax on Social Security would impact about 150,000 Utahns. And for most of them, these would be pretty decent numbers. I mean, it could be, upwards of $1,000.
The budget also includes help for veterans and members of the National Guard, as well as expanding child tax credits. A hazmat team in West Haven busy last night cleaning up 100 gallons of spilled fuel. Police say 2 trucks were pulling trailers. One of them broke loose. The hitch punctured a fuel tank. Nobody was hurt in that accident. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Math scores for 4th graders dropped by 18% from 2019 to 2023 nationwide. The National Center for Education Statistics says scores for 8th graders dropped 27 points during those COVID years when many school children were attending school remotely. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average is down 149 points right now. The NASDAQ is up by 42. And our KSL weather, we've got a little bit of fog around, but mostly sunny right now. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Your business needs a network it can count on.
Power's out.
Comcast Business has you covered with Wi-Fi backup to help keep your business up and running, even when your power goes out.
Everybody in the warehouse good?
Lights are out, but the Wi-Fi's up. Let's power on.
It's from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Break room, you good?
Can't microwave my burrito, but Wi-Fi's fine. Let's power on.
Power on with the leader in connectivity, Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Ask about Wi-Fi backup for your business or get started with reliable internet and advanced security for $49.99 a month for 12 months with a 2-year contract, plus for a limited time. Ask about an $800 holiday bonus prepaid card with a qualifying internet package. Don't wait. Call or go online to ComcastBusiness.com today. Ends 12/15/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 150 megabit per second internet and security edge. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Now is the perfect moment to do what I did last year at this time, and that is to get on your SOTA weight loss journey. Why wait for a resolution in January? Your health can't wait. So now's the perfect time to join. Imagine going into 2025 in the best shape of your life. SOTA weight loss delivers fast results, but here's the thing, it's without drugs, shots, pills, or crazy side effects. You don't gain it all back when you're finished because SOTA works with you for the rest of your life. I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months. Nothing feels better than looking down and seeing another 3 to 5 pounds come off each week. And the health benefits have been amazing. I lowered my A1C. I sleep better. Look, if you want proof, go to sotaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Click on Request a Nutritionist Callback and take advantage of SOTA's biggest savings of the year and ask about the holiday special. SOTA will change your life for the better because it's, say it with me, say of the R's.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the Dino Payout. And here's Heather Kelly.
We still have delays southbound I-15 as you move between Farmington and Centerville. It's due to the right lane blocked right where West Davis Highway merges onto southbound I-15. And the ramp from West Davis Highway onto I-15 is shut down. That's all due to an earlier hazmat spill. A semi dropped either some fuel or oil on the roadway. They're still trying to clean that up. Now, on top of all of that, you've got fog in Farmington Centerville area, which is blanketing Legacy Parkway, portions of West Davis Highway, and I-15. And it's making the roads a bit icy in that area as well. So they do have trucks out trying to get salt on the road. Looking for the best gift ever? That's what you get at Minky Couture, the original luxury blanket company. Use code KSL50 online and in stores to receive 50% off your purchase. Visit minkycouture.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Our bad air quality continues with a cold front expected to bring some improvements on Sunday. Today will be sunny with highs in the mid-40s. 34 degrees and sunny right now. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com for Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, we hope this isn't the case, but we know that sometimes the holidays can bring on some hostile feelings amongst siblings. And in fact, we looked at the Psychology Today report. It's about a year old or so, but I think these numbers are probably still accurate. Well, you know, whether it's you're talking politics or you're having difficult times talking about family money and maybe, you know, there's, you know, issues about a will or something like 28% of people who were surveyed, Dave, said that they have had at least one period of their life where they have been at odds with their sibling.
That's a big number.
Yes,
I mean, almost 30% of people.
Yeah.
1 in 3 people. I mean, that's a huge chunk. Now, I wonder if it counts. Like, does teen years, does that count? I don't really count it until you're adults because everybody kind of has that sibling rivalry and kind of fighting when you're growing up. I guess I don't count it until we're talking about the adult years.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of adults who have troubles with their brother or their sister. They don't talk to them, and then they don't know how to get over it. They don't know how to break the ice to start that conversation with them again. I think about Prince Harry and William.
Yeah. You refer to your brother as your beloved brother and arch nemesis. Strong words. What did you mean by that?
there has always been this competition between us, weirdly. I think it really plays into, or is played by, the heir spare.
That's the competition aspect of it is very interesting and kind of telling to me when it comes to the relationship, because a lot of it for me is perspective. I tell my siblings this all the time. I'm the dumbest and least successful of my entire family, and I love it. And that's great. I celebrate their successes. Their successes are my successes because I get to brag on my brother and sister, and I'm very happy about that. When Harry was describing that, though, he says there's always been this competition, and it's very, very important. There's healthy competition, and then there's toxic competition. And clearly for him, that competition has been toxic.
Yeah, CNN wrote about this not too long ago. It's how to know when it's time to walk away from a sibling. That sounds so harsh. If I had this going on with my sister, who's my only sibling, I would go to her home in Arizona and lay down at the front door until she stopped stepping over me and started talking to me. That's how important she is in my life. David Schramm, PhD, Associate Professor, Department of Human Development and Family Studies at Utah State University. Wow, that's a mouthful. Hi, Dr. Schramm.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. What a crazy topic, huh?
It's a crazy topic because you think of this in terms of like marriages falling apart and, husband and wife no longer talking to each other and that relationship being toxic. But we rarely talk about sibling toxicity. How do you know when it's time to walk away?
Yeah, man, this one is so tough because it flies in the face of really what I preach to my kids, and that's people are more important than problems until the problem, becomes really big. And so I think it comes down to consistent patterns, of abuse, of jealousy, of toxicity. So, I can't be around this person, but it's over time, because that's very different than a blow up over, politics or something over a Thanksgiving meal.
I kind of chuckle sometimes. We talk about the knockdown, drag out fights with our siblings with maybe some fondness, even like, oh yeah, we fought like cats and dogs, but now we've made up. The level of, I guess maybe we accept behavior in our siblings that we wouldn't in other people, like we wouldn't in a friend, and I see both positives and negatives to that. Can you help us walk through a little bit where we should forgive and where we should have strong boundaries?
Yeah, when we can forgive, be quick to forgive, because so much of this resentment actually comes down to pride. And so if there's a heated disagreement, maybe it's over I see everything from sports, the BYU or the youth, that can get so mean over politics, over religious things. Learning to say, hey, I lost, or I said something that I shouldn't, and I apologize, that I want our relationship is more important. Now, if there is something if there's no willingness to change, that this really is toxic, our kids, can't stand going over there, the way that they are treated. So this is a pattern over time, or I've made multiple, repair attempts at this. I've even talked to them one-on-one. I don't recommend talking, in front of the entire family and trying to solve sibling relationships over that, but it's just consistently harmful to your well-being. And even then, even kind of a trial, separation, if you will, saying, hey, this just isn't working out, and when we get together, things are blowing up. So maybe we just need a little bit of time off, rather than the silent treatment. And that's just much easier to, okay, I'm done with this person.
Then it just feels so uncomfortable when mom or dad wants to throw the backyard barbecue in the summer and siblings are talking to each other. That's a tough one. That's a tough one, Doctor.
Parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. The poor parents, because they want that. They want more than anything for their children to be able to get along. But man, when things truly are toxic, you need to have discussions.
Is there a best line that we could break the ice with if we're having trouble with getting along with a sibling and maybe we're not talking to them?
Yeah, it says, I think it can come down to, hey, I think we need to talk a little bit. And how you do it, the tone of voice, right? And even the timing of it, in the middle of it, just saying, hey, I would love to chat about this sometime. This is just not going how I would like it to go. Can we talk about this? And maybe not in that moment at that barbecue, because you don't want to make it about you and ruin that experience for others. But you do need to talk about it, and that's what people are not wanting to do. It's much easier just to get fired up and walk away.
Dr. Dave, thank you so much for joining us. That's Dave Schramm from Utah State University, a great podcast here at KSL. It's called Stronger Marriage Connection, a family life specialist. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, let's take live phone calls straight ahead. 801-575-TALK. When if you had to walk away? Or maybe even just set a boundary with your brother or your sister. 801-575-TALK. We're going to take your live calls. And I just got word from our producer, Governor Spencer Cox, joining us in the 11 o'clock hour after revealing his budget for the new year. He's going to walk us through it, including the cut that he's talking about, and Dan's been reporting on from the newsroom, eliminating the Social Security tax, which will impact about 150,000 Utahns who collect Social Security. So stay tuned for Governor Cox in the 11 o'clock hour. We expect him to call in at about 11:20.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
If you're not quite sure what to do when you have a family member, a loved one, that is struggling with addiction, let me tell you about Renaissance Ranch, because they offer free family support services. They do this through weekly online classes that are open to the public.
And what's so great about this is they're free. You can do them from your own home. There's a list on their website that you can look at and see which ones apply to you. And classes are taught from a spousal, a parent's perspective, in a personal perspective as well.
The reason that's so important is because when family members and loved ones are involved in the recovery process, the research is very clear on this. The better the chance of a positive outcome. You just have to have that support system, and what a great resource to be able to attend some of these free classes.
Renaissance Ranch has been faith-based. They've been clinically proven for more than 20 years.
I'm looking at their website right now at renaissanceranch.com. Thursday, there's a men's addiction recovery group that is at 8 o'clock tonight. Again, these are free. These are open to the public. You don't need to sign up. Just go ahead and join that Zoom meeting online at renaissanceranch.com.
The Advanced Window Products end-of-season sale is happening now. Your chance to get beautiful new state-of-the-art windows and save a bundle on your energy bill. Call Advanced Window Products now, and they'll give you $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. We're talking about custom frames and sealed double-pane glass, any style, any color, and they're created just for you right here in Utah. You need a doggy door inlaid into the glass? They do it all the time. In fact, Advanced Window Products has been building the highest quality windows here in Salt Lake City for 38 years. So there's no middleman and you save money. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. So keep the heat inside with new windows. The energy companies will even give you a rebate. Advanced Window Products offers 0% financing, affordable monthly payments, and now $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Call them right now, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
If you're trying to decide which gutter protection to put on your home, don't just ask how they'll handle leaves. Ask how they'll handle ice. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and that's right, ice. See, plenty of gutter guards are good at keeping out leaves, but most are made with flimsy materials that can bend, buckle, and break under the weight of too much ice. Kind of a big problem in an icy state like Utah, right? At RGS Exteriors, our exclusive gutter protection systems are built Utah tough. They're made with premium strength materials that hold up to 1,200 pounds of ice per square foot. Simply put, they're not going to budge. Our gutter guards are also certified to handle hurricane-level winds and rain. Mother Nature can't damage them. Guaranteed. Utah Tough Products. That's the RGS way. For a free estimate, call 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's rgsexteriors.com or 801-280-3110.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. The other night, Dee and I had the chance to see Beauty and the Beast, Disney's Beauty and the Beast, at Hale Center Theater. It is something you do not want to miss this holiday season. The voices delivering those beloved songs to perfection is simply wonderful. I asked Dee, what was your favorite part? And she's seen a lot of versions of Beauty and the Beast, literally around the world. She said, where do you possibly start on this? But the costumes were spectacular. She loved Belle's ensemble. With Hale Center Theater's magic, it is incredible. The staging and the special effects, the transformation from Beast to the Prince is simply masterful. Hale Center Theater, don't miss Beauty and the Beast. And give a gift of Hale Center Theater. Whether it's tickets to A Christmas Carol, gift cards make a great gift, season tickets to the 2025 season, it awaits you. Go to hct.org.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, eliminating the state tax on Social Security benefits is at the top of the list for Governor Cox's state budget proposal. Second, math scores for 4th and 8th graders dropped dramatically during the COVID years from 2019 to 2023. And third, a driver was trapped under a car in a crash in American Fork Canyon this morning. 36 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
It's called sibling estrangement. And Psychology Today's published data on it says it happens at some point to about 30% of siblings. And there's a list of reasons I'm going to read off in just a moment that one psychologist says, according to the CNN article, can lead to some really harsh feelings and basically a breakup from a brother or sister. You don't talk to them. You don't want to have anything to do with them. And some of them on this list, Dave, is like, okay, I could see that. But other stuff is like, why? I wouldn't even think that would happen to siblings, but it can happen.
Yeah, we're taking your phone calls, 801-575-TALK. Have you ever worked through something? Has there been a situation where you've had to remove yourself from that experience, that relationship with your sibling? You don't take it lightly. I get it, and it's kind of a vulnerable thing to ask phone calls for, but I would love to hear from you guys because this affects so many people. About 30% of folks have gone through some sort of period of estrangement with their sibling.
And we just spoke live with Dr. David Schramm of Utah State University about this, and he gave us some tips on how to start having that crucial conversation, hoping that you can patch things up.
How you do it, the tone of voice, right? And even the timing of it, in the middle of it, just saying, hey, I would love to chat about this sometime. This is just not going how I would like it to go. Can we talk about this? And maybe not in that moment at that barbecue because you don't want to make it about you and ruin that experience for others. But you do need to talk about it, and that's what people are not wanting to do. It's much easier just to get fired up and walk away.
Taking your phone calls again, 801-575-TALK. Jake in Magna. Jake, what are you willing to share, I should say?
Yeah, it's coming as an analyst. You guys have heard me give a variety of comments, and I try to look at things from an analytic perspective. And one of the ways I try to have an honest conversation with my siblings and with my family is I don't just give subjective statements that aren't supported by specific data points, because having an honest conversation is about supporting it with data. I'll share with you that I had an experience where I was talking about how when it comes to military, like our recruitment efforts have gone down over this last presidency. And I was talking to them about how 50% of our recruitment has been down and 30% of people in the Army Reserve had walked away, even when the military was covering their benefits. And a lot of that was in correlation with the fact that the Biden administration's pull out of Afghanistan.
Did this lead to hard feelings?
Yeah, and so when I was kind of supporting the data and talking about the referencing and even the fact that I had chatted with some people in military about this, like those were data points. Somebody, just one person in particular, went berserk and didn't want to listen to it simply because it was politically natured. And that's the hard thing is sometimes you want to have an honest conversation and have data to support it, but it's just hard when family members don't even care about the data. And it's like at that point, it's just better to be silent. And I think that's the problem is you have to sometimes be willing to talk about the data if you want to have an honest conversation.
Yeah, emotions really tap into it, right? They play so much into the role of our conversations, and when things get emotional, it's hard to be logical, or it's hard to see logic when our emotions start taking over. Thanks for the phone call.
So we got a text from one of our listeners at 57500. You can use our text line anytime to message us. We'll love to hear from you, but we know it's a sensitive topic. Maybe you don't want to put your voice on the radio. Currently 39 years old, don't talk to and haven't seen 2 of my 4 siblings for 5+ years.
Yeah,
that's a heartbreaker. I'm sorry. And we don't have the context as to why.
Right. Yeah. And what can be heartbreaking is if you have a toxic relationship and that drags you down like a millstone, as you're trying to swim in this empty ocean. If you have a bad relationship, we don't put up with that when it comes to friends. We have a much longer leash, obviously, when it comes to our siblings, as I think is right. And it's, I think, natural for our relationships to change, right? Think of our relationship when you're in your teens with your family and you're together all of the time. How has that changed once you start raising families and you move out of the state and you don't live close to each other? You can see, okay, well, maybe it's just not convenient maybe we're not in a financial situation to travel back and keep that kind of a relationship.
CNN did an interview with a psychologist. His name's Joshua Coleman. And they asked him to list reasons, one of the most common triggers for sibling estrangement. And this one popped out at me, and it's the first one listed, and I was like, oh, I guess when you don't experience something like this, you don't know about it. But this one is typical reasons why sibling rifts or estrangement begin include perceived or objectively differential treatment by parents, which can cause one sibling to distance themselves because they feel less valued.
I see an article right now in the New York Times. This is a couple years old, but it's called The Unequal Inheritance. It can work, or it can destroy relationships.
You're talking about wills.
Yeah, and I know that's not totally exactly what you were talking about, but that's partially where my mind went to it, is if you have one family member that is, when a parent passes away and says, you know what, I'm going to give an unequal distribution of the estate to this one child. Now, my siblings, we've actually talked about this. Like, what would you do if mom gave Dave all the money? And we all kind of chuckle, but this happens. It's not terribly common, but it certainly does happen. And I can see where it would be extremely divisive. Now, we just kind of joked. We're like, we just divide it all up equally anyway. But we have a good relationship, and that's not every family out there. Not everyone agrees.
Here's another one, a history of abuse, especially if they haven't made amends, or if the hurt sibling hasn't been able to forgive. Sibling rivalries is another reason, sometimes sparked by a feeling of jealousy, or maybe somebody feels threatened by the brother or sister's success. They say that can drive a wedge.
You played that soundbite from Prince Harry earlier when he was talking about his brother, Prince William, and there was that rivalry.
You refer to your brother as your beloved brother and arch nemesis. Strong words. What did you mean by that?
There has always been this competition between us, weirdly. I think it really plays into, or is played by, the heir spare.
Well, and that is natural, right? Competition among siblings, sibling rivalry, that is very normal. But in this case specifically, one is an heir to the throne, will be king one day. Prince Harry will not. So it's very interesting to hear that even, the famous siblings that have enormous money, notoriety, fame, all of these things, they still are dealing with sibling issues, sibling rivalries. And it is sad to watch that kind of division happen, with the spotlight shining on you.
I was going to say publicly.
Yeah, brutal.
Yeah. Great conversation. Straight ahead, Governor Spencer Cox calling the show at 11:20. So he's just unveiled his 2026 fiscal year budget. You've been hearing Dan reporting on it from the newsroom all morning long, and one of the key elements of it is to eliminate the Social Security tax for seniors who collect Social Security. You all should be cheering right now. Not only cheering, but you should be sticking around to hear what the governor plans to do with that tax. How is he going to eliminate this, and what does it mean for you, your Social Security payments?
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. A driver was trapped inside a car in American Fork Canyon early this morning after driving off the road on the scenic Alpine Loop.
And rolled over onto its top and slid down a ravine where it hit a tree, and that tree has come over on top of the vehicle.
That's Utah Highway Patrol Lieutenant Cameron Roden. He says they had to shut down the road for several hours so they could extricate the driver and remove that toppled tree from the road. Roden says they'll try to figure out if impairment or ice were factors in that crash. Utah Governor Spencer Cox included eliminating the state tax on Social Security benefits in his proposed $30.6 billion budget. Seniors who collect Social Security could save about $1,000 a year if that tax were eliminated. The legislature, of course, has the final say. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Israeli military says it's recovered the body of one more hostage held by Hamas in Gaza. Itay Svirsky was kidnapped from his home in southern Israel when Hamas attacked on October 7th of last year. His siblings say they're grateful to have the body back to give him a proper burial. Your money at this moment. The Dow Jones average is down 100 points on the day. The NASDAQ, on the other hand, is up 45 right now. And our KSL weather, the polluted air just hanging on. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RADIO to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RADIO for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring well
Do you ever feel like getting your supplies for your CPAP is just a huge headache? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical. We'll say goodbye to the hassle and hello to a stress-free life with our CPAP resupply service. Signing up is a breeze. Just place a call, choose your products, and leave the insurance billing and shipping to us. Our discreet packaging prioritizes your privacy, and we always ensure an on-time delivery. No more trips to the store or worrying about running out of important supplies. We get how crucial your CPAP therapy is, so don't let the stress of keeping up with it affect your sleep and health. Join Alpine Resupply today and enjoy a tranquil night's sleep with all your CPAP essentials. Visit us at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the Dino Pay app. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, there are no delays anymore along the I-15 corridor, northbound or southbound, trying to get into downtown Salt Lake, or the opposite directions if you're trying to leave the Salt Lake area. But we still have the closure of the connecting ramp from West Davis Highway southbound to get onto southbound I-15. This is all due to a hazmat spill. They've been trying to clean that up for several hours now. But at least all the lanes on I-15 are now open. Anybody on West Davis Highway are being directed onto southbound Legacy Parkway, so just allow for that little bit of extra time if that's your normal route. UTA is road therapy. Give your car a break and get more U-time. Plan your trip at rideuta.com or on the Transit app. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Our bad air quality continues with a cold front expected to bring some improvement on Sunday. Sunny with highs in the mid-40s today. 36 right now with sunny skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Utah's top political story. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, the governor unveiled his budget for the next year for fiscal year 2026 at about 10 o'clock this morning, and thankful that he's lined us up in his schedule to call at 11:20. I think some of the key takeaways just at first blush, Dave, and you're going to be able to give us a lot more information because you sat in with the governor yesterday on our editorial board meeting here at Broadcast House, where a number of members of our staff sit and talk and ask people who come to that meeting, those meetings, questions. And the governor was here yesterday speaking about his budget. Is this eliminating the Social Security tax that he has on the docket here? It's one of the things that the governor wants to see happen in the next year. We're going to ask him about that. It would impact 150,000 Utah seniors, which would mean more take-home pay in your Social Security check.
One thing I learned from the governor yesterday in that conversation is that we're one of only 9 states that continues to tax Social Security. So he'll be able to talk about the amount of savings, how many people this will affect as well.
Yeah, he's also talking about expanding home-based care for our seniors. That's curious to me as we, stare down this idea of having to put mom, dad, grandma, and grandpa in an assisted living facility. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to get them the care that they need to stay home and stay home longer? And protecting seniors from fraud and exploitation. That topic is near and dear to my heart as a former investigative reporter and consumer reporter. I know firsthand in talking to our seniors that they are prey for some, really horrible crooks out there who want to steal all of their money from them. I want to know more from the governor about his plans to protect our senior population because they are some of the most vulnerable among us.
We're going to take that 30 minutes of the show, a kind of a special 30 minutes focusing on seniors. I think those are some great topics, and there are plans from the governor's budget proposal that will address many of those issues that seniors are dealing with.
So the Gov calling in 12 minutes from now, but Dave, in the meantime, you were sitting in that editorial board meeting as a member of our editorial board here at KSL and the Deseret News, and one of your key takeaways from that meeting has to do with something you like to talk about, which is nuclear power.
I love talking about nuclear energy. I do. It's one of my pet projects. Anytime I can talk about it.
So give me, because not everybody has the pleasure or the honor of sitting in on one of these meetings, myself included. What's it like in there? Like, are there a number of journalists in there, and then the person who's the guest of honor sits at the head of the table, and then they just get asked a lot of questions?
Yeah, that's very much what it's like. It's like you get to sit in the center, and everyone surrounds, and we just pepper you with questions for the better part of an hour. Now, the governor brought his entire team. Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson was there as well.
Okay.
So it really was a little preview, some insight to what the governor wants to prioritize this next legislative session. He gives, obviously, the legislature this proposal, and then they have to decide what they're going to work together on, what they're going to ignore. Sometimes, and I've talked to political insiders before that say, at times we've taken the governor's budget proposal and we've thrown it directly into the garbage. Other times we work together and see where we can really go, hand in hand with these proposals.
So expand on the nuclear aspect of the discussion, nuclear power, I guess I should say.
I think one of the things that stood out to me the most was Governor Cox said there's two things we can control in the state: the cost of housing and the cost of energy. And I thought that was so fascinating to think that of all the things that are out there, the two things that he really thinks the state through policy can affect is the cost of housing and the cost of energy. We'll talk about housing another day, but it's largely just allowing more homes to be built. That'll bring down the cost, supply and demand, right? Well, energy is another angle because obviously there are so many regulations. There are so many initiatives that you have to take into consideration where the state has a very strong role. But we don't hear about nuclear energy very often here in Utah because when you look at nuclear energy, oftentimes you see them built next to the ocean because they have the old designs have had huge water needs where you're using the water to cool the reactors, to produce the steam, to create the energy. And we don't have a lot of water here in Utah, obviously in a desert. So I wanted to learn a little bit more from Governor Cox, and we'll play a little bit from that editorial board about the goals and what he calls Operation Gigawatt.
Operation Gigawatt. This insatiable need for more electricity in our state and in our country. We know we need to double our production of electricity in the state. We have a rich history of producing more than enough energy to export to other states and other countries. But with our growing population, we have to do more. So with Operation Gigawatt, we are proposing $20 million for nuclear energy development in the state.
Now, we've produced very affordable natural gas for a very long time. We've exported a lot of that. But the $20 million for nuclear energy, the way he described it, would go toward essentially figuring out where these things could go. So if you find a site, for example, you have to do a lot of research into, okay, is this going to work? We have to do some research. Can we run lines? Can we run power lines to this? Can we get power lines out? Are we going to stick it in the middle of nowhere, Utah? And are we going to be able to transmit that energy somewhere? Or are we going to have to build it somewhere along the Wasatch Front? That's where a lot of this $20 million, to my understanding, would go, is trying to figure out exactly where could some of these reactors go.
So this would be like a nuclear plant.
Yes.
A site for a nuclear plant.
Yeah. Yep.
What about, do we have people in the state who know how to do this? I know it's a simple way to ask a complex question, but
no, it's a fantastic question. And if you look at the nuclear reactor map in America, it's incredible because there's lots of nuclear energy plants. I won't say lots, there's not like hundreds, but there are dozens of nuclear energy plants across the East Coast and kind of in the eastern United States. As soon as you hit like the Mississippi River, anything west of that, it is a handful. There's hardly any nuclear energy. So we have not been building or continuing these nuclear energy projects, which is problematic because everyone that built them back in the 60s and 70s they're starting to age out, and we're losing some of that expertise.
The problem is the expertise is starting to age out. The people who know how to build this stuff, they're not young anymore. And so we have a window of opportunity right now to actually fix this and get it right. You've probably seen some announcements. I think today Meta had an announcement that they want to build 3 or 4 of these, and they're putting a tremendous amount of money. The capital is there. Again, for the first time since the energy crisis of the 70s, now we have the potential for a wave of building. But permitting is the thing that's stopping us, and we've got to fix that.
And permitting is one thing that he thinks that the new administration, the Trump administration, will help maybe refine so it's not quite so burdensome. Utah is also working with Idaho and Wyoming. We're collaboratively working together on some of these nuclear projects, and he seemed very excited about the future of nuclear here in Utah.
Well, straight ahead, let's talk to the governor about his pitch, his plan to eliminate the Social Security tax. If you're collecting Social Security and you know somebody who does, run to your radio right now. Keep your radio at 102.7 FM and listen, because the gov's calling in next with his plan to eliminate Social Security tax. I'm curious to know how much extra this will mean in the Social Security checks for our seniors who collect it. Governor's up next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
One of the things I love about Kinetico water softeners is I don't have to think about them. They just work. When it was installed, and it only took a few hours for Kinetico to come out to my house, install. It was so simple, no mess. They took care of all the plumbing needs. And then I never had to touch it ever again outside of putting a little salt in the bin every couple of months. Because the Kinetico water softener system is so efficient, it uses 2/3 less salt than most water softeners. So where you may, if you've had this experience in the past, had to refill your salt bin every month or even after every few weeks. I only had to do it maybe once every couple of months because it was so highly efficient. And then we got to enjoy all of the benefits of soft water in our house. It feels great on your skin. That's where we noticed it the most because we have very dry skin in our family. And in this winter season, that's just where we had to bathe in lotion. We loved having soft water. It's great for your dishes, for your laundry, all the expensive appliances that, your water heater, that is affected by hard water. So if you have questions, go ahead and reach out to Kinetico of Utah. They're an authorized Kinetico dealer. 801-576-8600. That's the phone number, 801-576-8600, or online at softwaterutah.com.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
A house explosion this afternoon.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio.
At Harbor Freight, our low prices make us the place for gifts that keep on giving. Because when you give the gift of quality tools, you're giving someone the ability to fix, restore, and build for years to come. And with savings like these, you can even get something for yourself. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight. Stop by and give yourself the gift of great prices.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Fall is the season of change. As the leaves start to fall, it's time to rake in extra cash for the changes you need with a 4.99% APR home equity line of credit from Golden West Credit Union. Finally start that kitchen remodel, pay for unexpected expenses, or consolidate high-interest debt. Enjoy this low promotional rate for 6 months and make your home's equity work for you. Golden West Credit Union. Equal housing lender. NMLS number 440574.
We'll take care of you.
Ready Ready for a new adventure? Right now, Golden West Credit Union has you covered with low-rate loans for your next car, RV, or power sports vehicle with no payments for 90 days. Whether it's a smooth commute or an off-road thrill, we'll help you hit the road with a little more money in your pocket. Apply in minutes at gwcu.org or ask for Golden West financing at the dealership. Golden West Credit Union.
We'll take care of you.
Join us at the Festival of Trees, a magical event benefiting the children at Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital from December 4th to December 7th. Tickets at festivalofTreesUtah.org.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a crash shut down the Alpine Loop Highway this morning while rescuers extricated the victim from his car. Second, the body of one more hostage kidnapped by Hamas has been recovered in Gaza. And third, Governor Spencer Cox proposed eliminating the state tax on Social Security benefits as part of his $30 billion budget. 36 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
I just got the thumbs up from our producer that the governor's on the line right now. We're going to get him into the conversation. We're talking about your budget here, Governor. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, and I think we really wanted to narrow the focus, and we know this is a big budget, $30.6 billion that you've proposed that you're going to give over to the legislature to make some decisions on. But what really stands out to me is eliminating the Social Security tax, and I hear a collective cheer coming from anybody who's collecting Social Security. Why did you land on this as one of your pitches to lawmakers?
Yeah, so there's a couple reasons for it. I think first and foremost, we've done a lot of work over the years working with our kids and working with our most vulnerable populations. But if you look over the past couple of years, especially with inflation, one of the groups that has been hit the hardest are our seniors and those living on fixed incomes. And so we specifically wanted to focus on our seniors this year, not just in the budget, with some policy recommendations as well. You'll hear in my State of the State in a little over a month, I'll be talking about our seniors and how important they are to our communities. And as we're aging as a population, we're still the youngest state in the nation. We're a little behind the rest of the country, but we do have this silver tsunami that's coming as boomers are retiring, and so we need to focus more on them. So that's the first reason. The second reason is it's kind of common sense. I mean, we're one of only 9 states that still taxes Social Security benefits, and one of those, West Virginia, is about to phase it out completely. So we'll be one of 8 states left. Over the course of the last couple of years, under our administration, we have rolled back those taxes on Social Security so that the lowest earning group is not paying anything right now. But there's no reason we can't get rid of all of this. There's 150,000 seniors that are paying Social Security taxes right now. It impacts them directly. It impacts their families. And hopefully it impacts all of us. Someday we all hope to be seniors. And so I think it makes a tremendous amount of sense. The average filer would get about $1,000 back this year. That's meaningful. $1,000 is something. You know, we could do another incremental income tax cut where all of us get $15, $20, or we could help our grandparents with $1,000. I think that makes more sense.
I think my mom wants to give you a virtual crisp high five for this idea. She loves this idea. But unlike the federal government, whenever we make these kind of cuts, we actually try to balance this out. So how are you going to pay for this kind of tax break?
Yeah, the good news is that we've already worked to pay for this tax cut. So we had planned on cutting. You remember there was supposed to be a vote on a constitutional amendment that would cut the tax on food, that would remove the state tax, sales tax on food. That didn't happen because of some legal wrangling. It never got counted on the ballot, and so we're going to have to wait a couple years to be able to do that again if we want to try to do that again. But we thought we were going to do it, and so we had already planned for it, and we can use that now to just completely eliminate the Social Security tax.
How soon would they see that happen in their checks if you got this through?
So I would love to make it retroactive if we could pull it off so that it would happen for this past year, the year right now. So when you file in April, that you would see it immediately. That's what I would like to try to get done.
Is that even a possibility?
It is a possibility. It's absolutely a possibility. I think we could do it. Yeah.
Yesterday, as we had a chance to talk to you at the editorial board meeting, get a little bit of a preview on this, another angle regarding seniors, and we're going to spend this 30 minutes talking specifically about seniors and some of the plans that the governor has or would like to see to address seniors here in Utah. I like this idea of aging at home health care. What do you envision with that?
Sure. So we have these programs existing in the state, and they provide home health to people that need it and help. So some of it is health care. Some of it is just they need help, a couple times a day with something. There are programs that do that. By funding these programs, there are a couple benefits. One, most seniors actually do want to stay in their homes as long as possible. They want to stay in their neighborhoods. I mean, these are places where they've lived for decades and sometimes generations. And so there's a dignity to that. It's important that we don't just always stick people in a home somewhere and try to forget about them. We need them. They help teach valuable lessons. We need them in our communities. It also just happens to save the families and taxpayer dollars. It's much cheaper if they can stay there longer than some of these long-term facilities. Now, it's not for everyone. We understand that. But if you're looking at a return on investment, spending it there makes so much more sense and can help even more people, give them that dignity of living there longer and saving taxpayer money at the same time.
Governor, can you give us like a peek behind the curtain? What would this look like in your mind if you expand home-based care to support our elderly and our aging population? Does that mean, a little extra money for the family to hire a nurse, or does it mean educating and getting more nursing staff qualified to do this? What does that look like?
Yeah. So there are these companies. Some of them are private companies that do this kind of work. This is what they do, and you can use your Medicaid, Medicare to pay for some of that. But often families don't have enough, or they don't have that available. If we were able to get these to those groups to help subsidize that care, they have wait lists for people that want this type of work, but they just don't have the funding for it right now. And so if we could help augment that, then they could take people off of those wait lists.
Another layer to helping seniors is a plan to help protect them from fraud and exploitation. The scams that are out there are so sophisticated and so impressive, with artificial intelligence playing into it as well. What would be the plan to help protect seniors from fraud and exploitation?
Yeah, so this would be an increase to our Department of Commerce, who has a fraud division, and specifically within the fraud division, the people that focused on the aging population. So there's a couple pieces to that. We need more investigators to help catch the bad guys that are doing this kind of work, so that they can respond more quickly, and then definitely some education dollars, so that we're reaching out to seniors and their families to help them understand what the scams are before the scams hit. So when we hear about a scam, we can turn around really quickly and let people know that this scam is out there. And we found that when we can do that, we prevent it from happening to other people. We can't stop it all from happening, but it gives them the knowledge. And then when it happens to them, they're like, okay, I heard this. This was on the news. I went to the movie the other day, and there was a warning about this. We're trying to get more education out there.
Well, Governor, this is so great. Just being an investigative reporter and a consumer reporter for a good chunk of my reporting career, I saw this happen all the time. We couldn't even keep up with as many story tips as we were getting about these types of scams. And if you have it happen to one of your, aging parents, I mean, some of them, will go down to a wire service down the street and wire thousands and thousands of dollars. So maybe even, continued training for places that wire money, to make sure they're asking the right questions of the person who's wiring the money. Like, do you know where this is going? Do you actually know that? I love all of this as an educational component, because what I think people don't realize is if grandma and grandpa wire $50,000 to a stranger in Nigeria, they're not getting that money back.
That's right, and you hit on the key component. I mean, this happened to my wife's grandma. She got a call and just said, "Hey, Grandma, I need some help." And she said, "Is this Keaton?" And he said, "Yes." There was a prompt there. "This is Keaton. I went to Canada. I'm stuck in jail. I need you to wire me $10,000 so I can get out. Here's the instructions." And fortunately, she called us. and said, hey, I just got this terrible phone call, and we recognize the signs. But that's what's happening. It's happening everywhere, and we can do better at preventing that.
Yeah.
Governor Spencer Cox, thank you so much for joining us. We're pouring over your budget recommendations right now. I've heard in the past sometimes the governor's budget proposal gets tossed right in the garbage. Other times it's really taken by the legislature with some heft. Where do you think it's going to land? Do you think they're going to follow some of these?
Yeah, look, it's my constitutional duty to make recommendations. It's their constitutional duty to actually pass the legislation, and we negotiate on that. We work very closely together. We have an amazing relationship. I can tell you that they do take my budget very seriously. That does not mean they adopt everything I want. I have my ideas. There's 104 of them who have their ideas as well, and I respect that. I know I'm not going to get everything, and that's okay. That's the balance of powers. That's how it works. But we're going to push for as much of it as we can, and we'll make compromise where we can.
Governor Cox, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to hear from you guys. I think this is a great conversation to have, and I thought this was an interesting theme that the governor had focused so much of his budget to seniors right now. Which one resonates with you the most? Because, again, trying to get all of these things passed through the legislature regarding seniors, which one do you want to see prioritized? Do you want to see the Social Security income tax break? Do you want to see more resources put toward aging at home, protecting seniors from fraud and exploitation? What do you think we should be prioritizing? I want to take your phone calls. What concerns you the most with mom and dad or grandma and grandpa? 801-575-TALK. That's 801-575-TALK.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. Governor Spencer Cox unveiled his $30.6 billion state budget proposal this morning. It includes removing the state tax on Social Security benefits, which could save individual seniors as much as $1,000 a year. The budget also addresses energy demands, asking for $20.4 million in nuclear power and $4.3 million for geothermal production. The governor says he's had conversations with surrounding states about coordinating efforts on nuclear energy plants. A family in Magna grateful to be alive after a truck crashed into their home yesterday. KSL TV's Debbie Worthen spoke to the family.
Literally sounded like a bomb landing on the house. I mean, it was that loud.
Christine Levensaler was just turning off the TV, her husband asleep in the other room, when this truck hit their house.
It scared me half to death.
The impact shifted the foundation and broke through brick.
The family says no one was hurt in the crash, but they're trying to figure out now where to stay while the home is repaired. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Biden reportedly considering preemptive pardons for people who might become targets of prosecution when President-elect Trump takes office. ABC News says the list includes Dr. Anthony Fauci, former Congresswoman Liz Cheney, Senator-elect Adam Schiff, and retired General Mark Milley. The president has already pardoned his son Hunter, who was convicted on tax and gun charges. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down now 179 points on the day. The NASDAQ is down by 17. And our KSL weather. We've got sunshine, but we've also got that inversion hanging on. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
During the holiday seasons, it's easy to pack on a few pounds. And then if you look over the last few years, maybe you've added a few more pounds on top of that. But with Salt Lake City Fat Loss, I found a great resource in learning how to shed some of those stubborn pounds. With Salt Lake City Fat Loss, they told me early on, they said, we have the secret to losing up to a pound of fat per day. Many people will lose 20 to 30 pounds in just a month or two. I lost 57 in 60 days. So right on that pound a day. And then you have the reduction phase, and then you have the maintenance phase. And they teach you a way to reintegrate some of those little treats but to still keep that weight off. And I've loved the program. It's been so effective. So if you're interested in losing some weight without surgery, without injections, go ahead and reach out to Salt Lake City Fat Loss. Right now during the holiday season, they're offering a 20% off the program. Little benefits. So go ahead and reach out right now. Perfect timing. You can schedule it after the holidays too, by the way. So don't worry. Go ahead, have the roast beast on Christmas, and make sure you reach out and schedule things up for you and take advantage of this great discount with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. Check out the website, slcfatloss.com.
It's a new chapter for energy in your community. Dominion Energy is now Enbridge Gas in Utah, Wyoming, and Idaho. With 175 years experience delivering reliable energy, we're pleased to welcome customers formerly served by Dominion Energy to our Enbridge family. While the name of your gas company has changed, we remain your first choice for affordable natural gas. For more information, visit enbridgegas.com. That's ENBRIDGE gas.com. Tomorrow is on.
Are you suffering from constant fatigue, joint pain, or digestive issues? Do you have brain fog, anxiety, or depression? Have you seen multiple doctors and still don't have any answers? Have you been told over and over that your blood tests are normal, but you're just not feeling well? At Transformative Medicine, they use specialized testing to find the root cause of the problem and then use cutting-edge therapies to treat it. Call Transformative Medicine today at 844-TALK-2-DOC and receive a free consultation. Finally, get to the root of the problem and have the answers you've been waiting for. Don't wait to get your life back. The first 25 people to call Transformative Medicine at 844-TALK-2-DOC will receive a consultation absolutely free. That's 844-TALK-2-DOC. 844-TALK-2-DOC.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. And here's Ricky Meese.
A hazmat spill at West Davis Highway to go to southbound I-15 on that ramp still has traffic blocked. All traffic on West Davis will be diverted over to Legacy Parkway in Salt Lake City. PD wrapping up a crash at 1st South and 12th East. UTA is road therapy. Give your car a break and get more U-time. Plan your trip at rideuta.com or on the Transit app. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Our bad air quality continues with a cold front expected to bring some improvement on Sunday. Sunny with highs in the mid-40s. And right now, 37 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
We just had Governor Spencer Cox live on the line with us, talking to us about his plan to eliminate the tax on Social Security for our seniors. He says it's going to impact about 150,000 Utah seniors.
So I think it makes a tremendous amount of sense. The average filer would get about $1,000 back this year. That's meaningful. $1,000 is something. You know, we could do another incremental income tax cut where all of us get $15, $20, or we could help our grandparents with $1,000. I think that makes more sense.
And we're only one of 9 states that still do this. Most of the states have said, you know what, we've already taxed 65 years of your life. We're not going to take it out of your Social Security as well.
And the governor said we are soon to be probably one of 8 states.
Yeah, and to be very clear, there's still taxes that you will owe. There's federal taxes. This is just the state portion of the Social Security tax.
Can we get somebody who collects Social Security to give us a call at 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK? You know, I'm closer to than Dave is to that date by several years, but I don't collect yet. So I'm wondering, do they take it out of your check, or is this something that you pay when you file in April? You file your taxes. 801-575-TALK, because we got a text from one of our listeners at 57500 when the Gov was on the line with us, and says, I don't think that tax is withheld from your Social Security check, but you do have to pay the taxes on it when you file. And then she said, not sure on that because my husband is supposed to get his first check this month. So congrats on that. But give us a call, 801-575-TALK. I'm curious to know how it works. I think this is a big win for seniors. 150,000 seniors. Look, $75 a month. I don't know how it's going to work out to be for if $60 a month. Money's money. Money is money. And $60 a month, maybe it puts a tank of gas in your car. Maybe it buys you a week's worth of groceries. Maybe it lets you do something special for your grandkids to make a fond memory out of. I think if we're one of only a handful of states, it sounds like that number is dwindling. It sounds like this is long overdue.
But if you are not taking that money out month by month, and it really is the case that it's just something that you pay at the end.
Yeah.
Again, neither you or I have firsthand experience on this, then that is a big chunk. That is $1,000 that you would typically send off that you get to keep. So it's not just going to be nickeling and diming and feel inconsequential. That'll be an extra $1,000 you get to keep, maybe even a little bit more on average. That is significant. And all of a sudden that $1,000 can be very meaningful.
This is part of the governor's budget proposal. It was unveiled earlier this morning. And one of the things the governor did tell us as well is that he would like to see this made retroactive. So it could be something you deal with in April when you file your taxes, but it's retroactive. Now, the legislature would have to approve all this, but I thought that was another aha moment.
Well, that was the big surprise in all of this, because typically these budget recommendations and things that are negotiated, it's like, great, we're going to vote on it. It's not going to take place until next year, especially when you're talking about tax breaks. To actually try to push this through, to have the money that is set aside to pay for this makes it entirely possible. Now, if you're wondering, okay, well, where does this money come from? Remember, I can't remember if it was, I think it was Amendment A, right? The constitutional
food
amendment.
Tax.
They were going to get rid of the food tax, right? And then that ended up getting thrown out on technicality. But anyway, the legislature had set aside I think more than $100 million to offset the removal of the food tax. Well, the food tax stays again. So they have this, whatever, $100 million just sitting there, and the governor is saying, we have this money allocated. It's already set aside. Let's give this break to seniors right now. Let's remove the Social Security income tax immediately starting this year.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi.
Were you listening to the governor a few minutes ago? Were you able to catch his conversation with us?
No, actually, I just got in the car. I missed it. I wish I could hear it.
Absolutely, no worries. You can podcast it later. We'll upload it to your favorite podcast platform, whether right after the show. Our producers do a great job of that, so you can catch it there. But what do you know about your Social Security check in terms of state taxes? Go for it.
All right. Well, I retired. I'm 69. I retired from the University of Utah as a nurse after like 27 years. And you can choose whether to have that taken out or not.
Oh, you can. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have it taken out? Do you have it taken out, or do you have it? Or...
I do not.
You do not.
I do not have it taken out. I deal with it at tax time. Probably, I don't know if that's a good idea or not. But
yeah.
Anyway,
okay.
That's what I know about it.
Thanks, Rebecca. Okay, let's ask Ruth. Hi, Ruth. You there? Hi, Ruth.
I'm here. Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know where she got the idea that you can have it withheld. Our tax person that does our taxes every year says through the state of Utah, you cannot withhold state taxes on our Social Security. So my husband and I are both collecting Social Security, and tax season, when we file our taxes, we have to come up with an extra $2,000 because each of us are collecting. So it's a big chunk. It's a lot for people who are retired and on fixed incomes, especially with the inflation that's happened the last few years. This would be a huge help to so many people in this state. And I love the idea that Governor Cox is for this and is fighting for us.
And the thought that it might be retroactive, that it might happen during this tax season, I would imagine that's got to get you pretty excited.
That is incredible. That is incredible. That would be so awesome. And I just want to tell our legislators up on the Hill to really look at this, because I've talked to my legislator about it, and he has said that is a sacred cow. You can't even bring that up with the legislator in Utah. And it's time for that to change. I told my legislator when I voted for him, I said, I will only vote for you if you promise me you will try to do something about this. And he said, I'll try, but it's something you can't even put on the table for the last 20 years.
Well, thank you so much for calling, Ruth. We're pulling for you. We hope this works out for you. BJ, you just got on Social Security.
Yeah, I just started on Social Security just in May. And when I signed up, you can sign up so taxes withheld, but it's only federal tax. And, that makes me fall short, and I can't do state tax, and I've been worried about that and what I'll have to pay. But I wish the federal government would take note of this, too, and stop taxing Social Security income.
So when we're talking about the withholdings, it sounds like you can have your federal tax withheld, but not the state tax?
Yes. Yeah, and it only gave you like either 10%, 15%, or 20%, but it's only federal.
Okay.
Why they don't withhold state, I'm not sure.
Well, here's the deal, BJ. If the governor gets his wish on Social Security, lawmakers approve this, eliminating the Social Security tax, he's hoping it can be made retroactive. So that could really relieve some of the stress that you might be feeling.
Yes, yeah, that would be wonderful if he could do it for 2023. That would help me at least.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to give us a phone call. Thanks, BJ, Ruth, and Rebecca. Thanks for your phone calls. But that concludes our special half hour talking about seniors, because the governor just revealed this morning about his plan, his hope to remove the Social Security income tax, the state portion of it. He thinks it'll save about, on average, $1,000 per person. We also talked about his plan to help seniors age at home, to protect them from fraud and exploitation. There's even a plan in his budget to expand the Meals on Wheels program. So seniors were a big focus of this budget from the governor.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Have you ever thought about updating your garage door? Or maybe you're building something and you're trying to figure out, okay, well, who's going to do my garage doors? Advanced Garage Doors are a great company.
Yeah, the Advanced Garage Doors, they've got these certified technicians who are available when you call 24/7 with same-day service.
One of my favorite things with Advanced Garage Doors is if they install any garage door or a motor, they're going to come out and give you a free inspection and tune-up once a year. So they come out, they check your rollers, the bearings, the connections, and they can make these subtle little adjustments to make sure that it's rising and falling smoothly, something that I've seldom experienced with my noisy garage door.
And not only that, not only repair your garage doors, but you can get a new one through Advanced Garage Doors. They got this website where you can design your garage door. You'll definitely want to check it out. And don't forget, the financing is also available when you use Advanced Garage Doors.
Yeah, they offer top-of-the-line stuff. 200,000 cycle rollers. Have you ever counted how many times that thing's gone up and down over the years? Go ahead and reach out to Advanced Garage Doors, advanced-door.com.
Or give them a call, 801-252-5977. That phone number again is 801-252-5977.
Join us at the Festival of Trees, a magical event benefiting the children at Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital. From December 4th to December 7th, the Mountain America Expo Center will transform into a winter wonderland of beautifully decorated trees, wreaths, and gingerbread houses, along with other fun-filled shops and activities. All funds raised help to create the nation's model health system for children. Together, we can make this holiday season a gift of love to change a child's life. Get tickets at festivalofTreesUtah.org.
Les Olson IT has the office technology you need to take your business to the next level. Protect your business with state-of-the-art security cameras, sensors, alarms, and access control protocols. Get peace of mind with cybersecurity from our elite IT services team. Reach the next level of productivity, security, and success with Les Olson IT. Learn more at lesolson.com.
Xfinity here. How can we help?
Hi, my entire family's obsessed with all things Wicked, but my kids can't stop watching the trailer, and now they're having a Wicked-themed sleepover. Do you think our internet can handle all of the streaming and memeing going on?
Well, we've engineered our Xfinity gateways to handle hundreds of devices at once, so they can all stay magically connected.
Wow. Are you a wizard?
I wish. No, just someone that won't let a bad connection burst your internet bubble. Now through December 22nd, get Thrillifyingly fast Xfinity Gigabit Internet for $25 a month for 12 months when you add unlimited mobile. And get Peacock Premium, a $7.99 a month value included at no extra cost. Or lock in your internet price for 2 years for just $5 more a month with a 1-year contract. Early termination fee applies. Go to Xfinity.com to learn more and keep the magic going from your screen to the big screen. And see Wicked in theaters now. Restrictions apply. Requires PayPal, Split, and auto pay with bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. Gig Wi-Fi requires Xfinity Gateway. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular internet rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. As one of the fastest growing investment firms in the country, Provo-based PEG Companies is redefining commercial real estate. At PEG, they go beyond traditional real estate attributes to create holistic, immersive experiences that activate communities. Founder Cameron Gunter joins us with more.
At PEG Companies, we believe that impactful real estate transcends physical structures and puts people at the heart of everything we do. That's why we strive to create meaningful experiences with every investment, focusing on thoughtful design, innovative technology, and positive social impact. Our award-winning Salt Lake City property, 702 Main Apartments, became the first health and wellness center community in the area, transforming traditional apartment living into a holistic lifestyle experience. Residents enjoy specialized wellness amenities like our hydro massage bed, an in-house health food market, and an outdoor fitness center with panoramic views. 702 Main Apartments is just one of many assets we develop, build, and manage. Currently, we're working with Hyatt Hotels to launch a new brand called Hyatt Studios in strong markets across the country, including Utah. At PEG, our goal is simply to elevate, providing only the best opportunities to investors, communities, and end users we serve.
With more than 20 years of experience, PEG Companies pairs data-driven investment strategies with the brightest minds in the industry to deliver superior portfolio performance, enriching lives and transforming communities. Visit pegcompanies.com. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, nuclear and geothermal energy are among the areas Governor Cox wants to shore up in his budget proposal for next year. Second, a family in Magna says they're lucky to be alive after a car hit their home. Third, President Biden reportedly considering preemptive pardons for people who might be prosecuted under a new Trump administration. 37 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Okay, some of you may or may not know I'm a huge advocate for eye health. I have been battling glaucoma since I was 29 years old, which is a disease that could blind me, but thankfully I am under the watchful care of awesome doctors and have been for almost 30 years now. When we talk about eye health, I'm so passionate about this. And so when Maria posted a new podcast episode with Let's Get Moving with Maria Chaleos, talking about eye health and wintertime. I'm like, we're on it. We are on it. So we invited Maria back. She doesn't go very far. You're always right there, right by my desk.
That's
Yeah,
right.
right by our desks.
This was a little bit of a harsh lesson that I had to learn. Just eye health in general. When I was in my teens, I first got contacts back then, and I was just kind of lazy about leaving my contacts in. And,
not a good thing.
And then all of a sudden, I started having all sorts of eye problems and infections. And at that point, I realized, I only got one set of eyes. This is something I've got to take more seriously. And ever since then, that was a lesson that I learned. Something that I don't think of often is winter eye health.
Right, because when we think about our eyes or protecting our eyes, we're headed out to the beach. Never forget your sunglasses when you're headed out to the beach, right? You never forget your sunglasses when you're headed up to the mountains to go skiing because you know for sure you're going to get that snow blindness, right? But we just don't think about what we should be doing every day. And there are some things that are really more prone to happen in the winter. And I did speak with an ophthalmologist at the Moran Eye Center, Dr. Nishi Reddy. And so here are some of the common problems that we have in the winter.
So some common eye problems that we see that people have in the winter are dry eye, viral conjunctivitis, also known as pink eye, and eye allergies. The winter air is a lot drier, and we also turn our heaters on in the winter, which can worsen dry eye. Pink eye or viral conjunctivitis is also associated with upper respiratory infections, and we see these more often in the winter. You can experience snow blindness, also known as photokeratitis. That's a sunburn that affects the cornea, which is the clear front part of the eye, and that happens when UV light is reflected off of the snow.
And not even mentioned there are the different types of allergies that people suffer from in the winter. We think of allergies as being spring, fall, whatever. But there are allergens like dust mites, pet dander, mold spores, all prevalent, more prevalent in the winter because we're enclosed in indoor spaces. So you may notice them more in the winter with like itching, red, watery eyes, that kind of thing.
So what is the best recommendation if you are struggling with some of those dry eye issues? Did you talk to Dr. Reddy about that?
Oh, absolutely. One of the first things, well, let's hear from her about prevention, first of all.
Using a humidifier at night while you're sleeping can help your dry eye. Using artificial tears regularly will help treat the symptoms of dry eye disease, and staying hydrated is vital to your overall health status in addition to your eye health. Try not to sit directly in front of the hot air as this can worsen dry eye, so I would recommend keeping the car vents turned away from your face.
Okay, let's be honest. You sit right in front of that car vent, don't you? Like I'm
Directly
freezing.
pointed into my face.
All of them, because I rarely have a passenger in my car. They're all pointed directly at my eyes.
I laugh at my husband because he always puts it on your feet. I'm like, why are we heating my feet? I need my upper body warmer. But he's actually smarter than I am, obviously.
Because it just dries out your eyes.
It does. And so, artificial tears. So you have to remember artificial tears and regular eye drops are not the same thing. And she wants to make sure that people know that. I mean, artificial tears are awesome because they really do moisturize your eyes. I had a retinal tear earlier this year and learned just how important using artificial tears is in helping my eyes kind of,
What did that feel like?
The older you get,
Can I ask you what that felt like?
Yeah, it felt like, well, first of all, I saw a flash. A lot of people report those kinds of flashes when they have like a migraine headache. So at first I thought I had a migraine headache. But then there were all these little specks inside my eye.
Oh. Did it clear up, Maria?
So my follow-up is tomorrow, which is where my 6-month follow-up appointment. Totally clear. No, there's still a little bit of blurry vision just because of all the particles. When your eye tears like that, you get a lot of little particles in your eye.
But your blood. Did the artificial tears help?
They do help. They really help a lot. But just make sure you're not using those eye drops that say get the red out. That's really not healthy for your eye long term. I mean, it's okay if you use them once because your eyes are really red. You don't want to be doing that on a consistent basis. And if you haven't seen the new humidifiers that are out, if you're one of those people that really suffer from dry eyes, there are some cool humidifiers out now that don't even look like humidifiers or just like another piece of furniture in your bedroom. My son had one the other day. I had no idea, so I got that idea from him.
Wow. Because I was actually, in anticipation of our discussion, I went on to Amazon last night looking for a humidifier. So could you send me which one your son
I might.
has?
I'll have to do that. Hey, and make sure, the computer screens, we're watching computers and our phones all day. They do cause a lot of strain. So you want to limit how much time you're actually looking at a screen.
So does it say on the boxes artificial tears? Is that what I'm looking for?
You're looking for artificial tears, not eye drops. You don't want anything that has get the red out.
Do you know what else bugs me? And I don't want to start a political debate on this, right? I'm sure there's plenty of political debates about this. Is the bad air.
Mm-hmm.
The bad air. When we have air like this, I notice my eyes are really, really scratchy.
Right.
Sometimes extremely watery.
Pollution exacerbates all sorts of things.
Yeah, I figured I wasn't the only one.
No.
But I noticed yesterday I had a little bit of a headache.
Try some artificial tears, though. That would help on that.
I will. Maria, thank
I'm
you.
I'm going
Welcome.
to bathe in artificial tears now. You've convinced me. I'm all in on the artificial tears.
In the morning and in the afternoon. Or no, morning and evening.
Can you overuse them, artificial
No, not really.
tears? Oh, okay. So that I worried about that. I'm like, am I going to teach my eyes how to stop producing moisture? Okay, you can use them.
It's the Let's Get Moving podcast with Maria Chaleos. Of course, you hear her every day from noon to 1 right here, and then with Jeff Kaplan in the afternoon. And Maria does some great work on that podcast. download that podcast. Make sure you follow it. She's got some great topics. We've talked to her about a lot of them. This one's a good one because we do tend to just kind of blow off our eye health, thinking they'll always work for us. And you learned that lesson early on.
Yeah, and I guess I've kind of dismissed the dry eye aspect of things because I certainly, I've worn glasses. We're staring at monitors all day, every day. I don't really think about it enough. And they do have these little simple single-use lubricating drops that are very packable, right? You don't have to carry around just another bottle of eye drops or artificial tears. Don't do the eye drop thing. So I've learned something today. Thanks. That's great stuff, Maria.
Yep. You probably heard our conversation, and if you didn't with Governor Cox, that's okay. You can podcast our show as well. He called the show live at 11:20. But Maria has a lot more with him coming up next on his budget recommendations. Maria's next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.